Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order our meeting of December 25th of the Board of Commissioners. So thank you for everyone for attending. Let's stay, or Allison, when Commissioner, will you open this up in prayer?
I sure will. Shall we pray? Dear Lord, this is your day, a day that you created. All your ways are good. You are holy and worthy of all our praise. God, tonight there are many gathered here. Many are gathered to potentially recognize a couple of individuals receiving special honor and recognition. God, we give thanks to you for them, and we ask for continued protection over them as they serve our community. As we go into the rest of the night, God, I pray Romans 12:2 over our board. Help us not to be conformed to this world, but transform us by the renewal of our minds, that by testing we may discern what your will is, what is good and acceptable and perfect. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Please stand for the pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rachel?
Mr. Barry,
Here.
Mr. Georgsma.
Here.
Mr. Zylstra.
Here.
Mr. Bonema. Mr. Moss.
Here.
Mrs. Wenzel.
Here.
Mr. Teeples.
Here.
Mrs. Rhodey.
Here.
Mr. Kyers.
Here.
Mr. Bruger.
Here.
Mrs. Miedema.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Sheriff, it's all yours.
Starting.
You want to go second? You're welcome.
Deputy.
Oh. So why don't you start it off, Sheriff?
You bet. Good evening. I appreciate you again affording me the time to recognize some of the members of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department for, once again, their life-saving efforts in this case. We have 2 instances, including 3 deputies, and so we'll do them in chronological order. And we'll start with Deputy Catalina Garza and Deputy Kurt Cruiser. Stand up here. On June 23, 2025, deputies responded to a priority medical call for a man in Georgetown Township who had suddenly become unresponsive during a phone conversation. The caller knew her father's medical history was serious and feared for his life. Deputies Garza and Cruiser arrived to find the residence locked. Recognizing the grave urgency, they forced entry and access to the patient. Deputy Garza immediately began CPR and, working with paramedics, helped deliver life-restoring shock with the AED. Her swift actions, together with teamwork, led to the patient regaining a pulse. Deputy Garza's calm under pressure and readiness to take action gave one family in our community renewed hope and another chance. Her heroism is at the heart of the life-saving award. Deputy Catalina Garza. During that same incident, it brought challenges requiring immediate and skilled intervention. Deputy Cruiser, together with Deputy Garza, did not hesitate to overcome the barriers to reaching a man in medical crisis. Deputy Cruiser assisted in forcing entry and worked with determination to help move and position the patient for life-saving efforts. He played a critical role in supporting medical aid, which helped bring about the successful revival. Deputy Cruiser's teamwork and professionalism under high-stress conditions reflect the core values of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office, and the Life-Saving Award celebrates this truly commendable service. Deputy Kurt Cruiser. On September 26 of 2025, our deputies faced a different kind of emergency, one that began as a report of a possible suicide in Grand Haven Township. The information was limited and the subject had a known history of attempts. He had previously mentioned a specific plan to harm himself, raising immediate concern for his safety. In that high-risk, time-sensitive situation, Deputy Forrest Sabo methodically turned fragments of information into a clear path to a person in danger. He obtained consent to search the subject's phone, used that information to track his travel through Harvard Transit, and coordinated with transit staff and Harvest Bible Church to review video and narrow down the likely location. Deputy Sabo then searched the wooded area near the church and located the subject in medical distress with extremely low blood sugar and clear signs of life that he was in immediate danger. Because he refused to give up, fire and medical personnel were able to reach the scene and deliver life-saving treatment. Deputy Sabo's persistence, resourcefulness, and dedication directly saved a life and exemplified the spirit of the life-saving award. Deputy Forrest Sabo. I know I have a couple more of them in the queue, and some of our deputies were not able to attend today, so I'm sure I'll see you again soon, but I appreciate you taking the time to let me celebrate our members.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. Congratulations, and thank you, all the sheriffs out there. Thank you very much. So now I get to continue this. Yeah. So this is the board's customer service award. So on May 7th, you were dispatched to assist an elderly woman in a motorized wheelchair who appeared disoriented and had been seen crossing a busy roadway multiple times. Upon locating the woman and determining that her wheelchair battery had depleted and the chair could not be transported by the cruiser, you took it upon yourself to ensure she arrived home safely. Without hesitation and with no request for additional resources, you physically pushed her in her motorized wheelchair over half a mile. Your actions reflect the highest ideals of community-oriented policing and represent a true compassion and service. This was not a high-risk profile or high-risk call, as you just went through a minute ago, but rather a moment of selfless service that made a real difference in someone's life. Your empathy and determination embody the values of your office, and we are proud to recognize your action as an outstanding example of public service. Thank you very much. Okay. We are now at our first public comment period. So anyone would like to address the board, please come forward. Just state your name, where you live, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah, my name is Stephen Willard. I live in Holland Charter Township. Good evening. Tonight, I want to speak about enforcement of vehicle noise violations, specifically illegally modified exhaust and how our sheriffs handle citizen complaints. This isn't just about cars. It's about peace, accountability, and trust. And right now, the system is broken. When I call to report loud vehicle noise, dispatch doesn't always insist on a description, but they do make you feel guilty for not having a visual. One time I was even given a lecture about how a description is required. Here's the truth. These violations are often heard, not seen. Deputies don't need a description, they need ears. By pressuring citizens for details they can't always provide, dispatch turns enforcement into obstruction. That's not accountability, that's a barrier. I've made over 17 calls about one vehicle with illegally modified exhaust, obnoxiously loud, waking me up at 6:30 every morning. It took those calls, multiple emails, an internal affairs complaint, and repeated follow-ups before the frequency of the violation finally minimized. But let me be clear, the situation is not resolved. The vehicle still disrupts the peace, just less often. That's a 3 months turnaround and counting for a single obnoxious violation. That's broken. We should be asking, how do we turn 3 months into 1 or 2 weeks? Citizens deserve timely enforcement, not endless runaround. And for any citizen listening, it is your right to report a crime. It's not dispatch's role to lecture you on how they think it should be reported. If you hear a vehicle violating the law, you can call. You don't need to see it. Enforcement should meet citizens where they are, not put up hurdles. And there's another problem, how these calls are categorized. I've seen my reports logged as traffic and crashes, but sometimes as health and safety. That inconsistency matters. It hides complaints and FOIA requests, skews the metrics, your own metrics, and lowers the priorities deputies assign to them. Categorization isn't neutral. It's a way to minimize accountability. Citizens deserve transparency, not a shell game. Noise enforcement isn't about convenience, it's about peace, safety, and trust. The sheriff office must remove barriers, shorten response times, stop playing categorization games, and respect citizens' rights to report violations. That's how we restore confidence in enforcement, and that's how we make peace the policy. And I'll leave you with this. Enforcement must mean forcing repair and report. Modified exhaust should not be tolerated. Just because they aren't loud right now, it's only one pedal to the metal before they're obnoxious again. Thank you. I appreciate your service.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Gail Berner. I live at 647 Pineview Drive in Holland. I am in District 2. I am in a constituent of Mr. Joritsma. I am here to ask the board to reconsider your resolution made on the 25th of February, 2025, requesting the Michigan Public Service Commission to postpone the planned retirement of the Campbell coal-fired plant. My focus here is the financial ramifications to consumers, customers, to subsidize the costs needed to run and maintain this 63-year-old Campbell coal plant when there are 21st century options available that are less expensive and more environmentally sound. Per Consumers Energy third quarter financial report, the cost to run Campbell's is over $615,000 per day. These costs will be paid by consumers' customers. Your constituents are already burdened with increasing costs for necessities such as food, housing, car and health insurance, clothing, and more. Therefore, I am asking the Board of Commissioners to rescind that resolution of continuing operation of the J.H. Campbell coal plant and allow it to retire as planned. There is ample electrical supply. This is per the North American Electric Reliability Corporation. This plant negatively impacts our air and water quality, and residents should not have to pay to maintain this aged plant when there are far more economical technologies to supply electricity. Ottawa County has a long history of forward-thinking leaders. We reap the benefits of these actions and appreciate them. Please look to the future and do the right thing and rescind this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Robert Hogekian. I live in West Olive, and I'm going to fill out some additional details of our just prior presentation. I attended my first Ottawa County Board of Commissioners meeting in October. Thankful for all that you do for the county. My wife and my home is in West Olive, a few hundred yards from the Campbell Consumers Energy plant. We're pleased with the plant plan to decommission, and that now has been continued to be delayed. I understand the Board of Commissioners, as mentioned, passed BC 25-062 in February of 25, requesting the plant closure be delayed, referencing the December 2024 NERC report that the MISO grid was the only network receiving a high-risk warning. I am sending this letter to you asking the Board of Commissioners to amend the resolution from February 2025 with this updated NERC assessment and support Consumers Energy decommissioning the plant. The information I'm basing this request on includes CMS Energy is a publicly traded company with responsibility to its customers and shareholders. Consumers Energy detailed planning with many stakeholders over multiple years to decommission its last coal-powered plant responsibly. This resulted in an approved integrated resource plan in 2021 that was approved by the Michigan Public Service Commission. Consumers Energy purchased the Covert Generating Station in June of 2023, a natural gas-fired power plant that generates 1,200 megawatts of electricity, and moved those megawatts into the MISO grid from the PJM grid. Consumers Energy increased the output from the Zeeland Generating Station from 930 to 1,019 megawatts as of August 2025. In 2022, MISO indicated to Consumers Energy that the J.H. Campbell operations may be suspended without concern. In June 2025 update to the NERC report, the MISO grid is now rated the same as the other 10 grids at elevated risk nationally. Consumers Energy is confident enough about its ability to support the MISO grid during times of demand, such that it is planning for the building of a new hyperscale data center in Michigan, believing the MISO grid is fully able to support such a data center. Mention was already made of the $615,000 a day
Thank you, sir.
toward operation. And as a physician, I am aware that the negative health effects on individuals living near a coal-powered plant across the age spectrum are well documented.
Thank you, sir. Very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else like to address the board?
Yes, my name is Peter Everts, and my address is 975 Mallard Court, and I am a constituent in Mr. Dritzma's district. As you know, you passed a resolution back in February to approve the delay in closing the Campbell Power Plant. And during your discussion about that resolution, you raised several concerns. One had to do with the grid stability, especially during the summer months within the MISO region. The other was the need for a more updated and reliable review of the energy capacity for our region. Since then, this is what has taken place. Number one, an energy emergency never materialized this summer. And even if it had, critics are pointing out that even on the day of the highest peak demand, this summer, MISO had an unused surplus of resources greater than 10 times the power provided by the Campbell plant. Secondly, the current NERC winter report, released just hours before the Department of Energy's extended emergency order last week, shows that there is sufficient electric generation for our region during the coming winter months, even during extreme levels of demand and generator outages. So I ask you, commissioners, where is the energy emergency that requires the Campbell power plant to stay open? For those of you who believe that the Campbell power plant may still offer a reliable backup, let me share with you some more facts. During the summer of this year, according to some court filings by some environmental groups, the Campbell plant partially broke down in June. Only one unit was producing power because another unit had been broken for weeks, and the third abruptly turned off or shut off. This report supports the fact that the use of coal for energy results in the most outages from equipment failures compared to any other power source in the United States. I believe that your concerns about MISO's capacity to handle the growing demands for energy have been answered. There is no energy emergency. Support the closing of the Campbell power plant that is aging and unreliable and no longer necessary for handling our energy demands. Use your influence at state and federal levels to insist that your constituents have enough power to meet their growing demands. Thank you for doing the right thing.
Thank you.
Dan Zimmer, Port Sheldon Township. I would like to comment on the 3/4 roll call vote required to form a committee to investigate a complaint against Commissioner Moss regarding his handling of the December 10, 2024 closed session meeting Nate Wolf narrative. The phrase, "the fox guarding the hen house," has its roots in rural life and describes circumstances in which a person or entity should not be trusted to oversee something for reason of having a vested interest and results in a conflict of interest. Empowering Joe Moss and OI to be the gatekeepers of an investigation into ethics violations by participating in the 3/4 roll call vote is a separate but compounding ethics issue. MCL 4611, Powers of County Board of Commissioners, language speaks to by majority vote. 51% is the threshold of a majority. Subpart M speaks to establish rules and regulations in reference to the management of the interest and business concerns of the county as the board considers necessary and proper in all matters not especially provided for in this act or under the laws of this state. Ottawa County has a code of ethics policy. As per Part B, it is fairly self-evident, did not maintain a deep sense of responsibility as a trusted public servant. As per Part C, it is fairly self-evident, failed to be dedicated to the highest ideals of honor and integrity in all public relationships. As per Part D, it is fairly self-evident, failed to discharge responsibilities without favor and refrain from engaging in any outside matters of financial or personal influence incompatible with the impartial and objective performance of duties. We are past the point of not knowing. Turning the page from not knowing to knowing comes with a responsibility of accountability and due diligence.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chantal Martineau, Park Township. My comment is a bit of a sequel to my comments from Friday's special meeting. And as such, I just wanted to start out with, I hope that we have a report from the administrator telling us what progress he's made on the motion that passed on Friday, since you needed those 2 extra days to implement that motion. But mostly I wanted to talk about what Dan just talked about. I have also spent a lot of time mulling over MCL 46.32, MCL 46.11, and the Board of Commissioners Code of Ethics, and the 3/4 rule vote for threshold for forming a committee to investigate ethics. And as you may recall, last time I was talking about transparency and the public trust. And it's not entirely clear to me, since I am not a lawyer, whether this 3/4 vote threshold is legal, because it is not outlined in those rules. But whether or not it is, it does meet the standard for the Michigan law. What you're signaling to the public by requiring a 3/4 vote is that you are not particularly interested in investigating ethics complaints by having the threshold be so far above the bare minimum of a majority vote. I think that that is if you would like to restore the public trust in this body, that you should change that threshold to 50% as required by law. And I also wanted to bring up the packet again. There were a few documents in the 500-page packet about one of the ethics complaints, but I just scrolled through it and I didn't see any documents at all about the other ethics complaint. And I'm just also wondering how you're going to work through these complaints if you do not have the background material that you need and that the public needs to understand what you're considering today. Again, it's my understanding that it's up to the administrator to form a procedure for what follows, whether the ethics committee is formed. And there's nothing about that in the packet either, which also indicates that you don't seem to have any intention of following through on these ethics complaints. So I hope you prove me wrong, but I would just like you all to know that the public is very interested in hearing about these ethics complaints. So we will stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Karen Obitz, Spring Lake. My public comment tonight is also focused on agenda items 8C and 8D. And specifically, I would as well like to ask the board to suspend your 3/4 vote threshold as stipulated in your code of ethics in favor of employing a simple majority vote. And I'm making this request based on my also admittedly non-legal expertise mind of MCL 46.3 subsection 2, which appears to require this board to make its decisions by majority vote unless otherwise specified in state law. I am aware of MCL 46.11 making some exceptions available to county boards, but in those exceptions, I did not see one that seemed to come alongside this ethics complaint and the code of ethics high threshold for a vote. So I'd like to ask this board to please explain to the public, which clearly has questions about this, how your policy's requirement of a 3/4 majority vote to authorize an investigation does indeed comply with that statute 46.3.2. And I'm especially interested to know the board's justification for this, for raising such a high bar for opening an investigation into the behavior of one of its members when a complaint is brought against them, because frankly, in my view, doing so could be seen as a self-protective posture. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Mike Philbin. I live in Holland City, and I am also a professor of geology and environmental science. And I would like to address the county's resolution asking the Department of Energy to keep the Campbell Power Plant open past its planned retirement date. And as others have already noted this evening, the decision by the DOE to keep the plant open has already cost Michigan ratepayers tens of millions of dollars, and has proved to be unnecessary considering the amount of excess power available on the MISO grid. But I would like to also just emphasize the health and environmental damage that this order is doing in addition to that wasted money. So first, the plant emits over 9 million tons of carbon dioxide every year, contributing to climate change. But in addition, it emits thousands of tons of nitrogen and sulfur oxides every year. And the health effects of breathing in these pollutants, as well as their byproducts, like fine particulate matter, are well known. Right? And based on the plant's emissions, it's been estimated that the Campbell plant alone causes 455 additional asthma attacks every year. And it can also cause chronic respiratory illness over time. This is especially harmful for children and the elderly. The emission of these pollutants at the Campbell plant is about 10 times higher per megawatt hour of energy generated compared to the natural gas plants that would be replacing the Campbell. And of course, infinitely higher than solar or wind energy. So not only is the order to keep the plant open unnecessary and costing your constituents tens of millions of dollars, but it is also actively harming your constituents' health. And so I encourage you to revisit and rescind the resolution approving of the closing of the Campbell plant. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, Barbara Lee, City of Grand Haven and the Momentum Center. There are a couple of things happening at the Momentum Center that I want all of you to be aware of. As you know, we get millage money, so I think it's important that you're aware of how that money is being spent. One is that we have started free food Fridays at our Grand Haven location. We had been doing a free dinner and movie night the second Friday of every month, but when we really were faced with the reality of food insecurity, we decided we needed to increase that. So every Friday night, we're having a free meal, hot meal for anybody in the community. We always have our micro pantry, but we think that it's not just about the food, it's also about community. So that is happening. The first time was last Friday. It'll continue. We do have somebody helping underwrite those costs. We're looking for volunteers to help prepare and serve. But I'm really excited about being able to offer that. And please share that with your constituents so that they know they can get a free meal every Friday night. The other is that we are in the process of launching the Friendship Bench pilot. I've talked about that. That's our program, new program where we'll be training people to be bench buddies, to teach people empathetic listening and place them throughout the community as a way to reach people who need somebody to connect with, to have a conversation, and if necessary, to be connected to mental health resources. So it's removing any barriers will be where the people go. We have listening sessions, two-way listening sessions to explain the program and answer questions and take feedback from the public, particularly as we're recruiting volunteers and also identifying locations for the benches. They will take place on December 3rd at the Grand Haven location. The Tri-Cities will be the space for the initial pilot. After a year, if this goes well, we hope to roll it out to the entire county. But December 3rd, we'll have sessions at 8 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. So I strongly encourage you to come to one of those sessions, learn more, have any questions answered, and they're open to anybody who's interested. Thank you for helping us create a community where everybody is fully connected and visible.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Christy Moplink from Zeeland Township. I didn't know the topic was going to be against your resolution for Campbell, but I'm actually speaking in favor of it. Our county's under attack for a lot of alternate energy uses, but yet I'm hearing tonight that we have excess power. The Campbell plant creates health and environmental risks. However, we already know about a battery energy storage system that's being proposed for Blendon. Zeeland Township is undergoing a known solar farm, at least 1,100 acres just of solar is the goal, and that would stretch into Jamestown Township. And I just realized that there's also a plan for a battery energy storage system in Olive Township. These things come with great risk as well. And I would like to, main reason I came up here was to thank Commissioners Moss and Miedema and Administrator Waterman for putting together the plans for the renewable energy siting training that you guys are working on to help local units understand PA 233 and how it affects the siting in our county. So I just thank you guys for that, and I look forward to what comes out of that. And I'm just going to leave it at that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. Joel Studebaker, Jamestown Township. First of all, on a positive note, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And just that we remember that when you go back to what Thanksgiving was founded on, it was a celebration of those that came over here from Europe for religious freedom, especially what now has driven our First Amendment. And that religious freedom resulted in spending time with people who were already native here and enjoying that time together. So not everyone from that time era participated in some of the things that people would like to accuse and blanket statement claim that they did. There were a lot of people who simply served the Lord in that era and loved on people. So that was awesome. So happy Thanksgiving. And I would like to also remind you, as I am the chair of the Ottawa Republican Party,
the very principles that we stand on. And there's a list of 22 of those principles. I'll go through them very quickly. First Amendment, religious liberty, a one-way street. The government cannot mandate religion. The First Amendment, freedom of speech. The Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. Fourth Amendment, liberty and privacy. Fifth Amendment, human life from conception to natural death. Fifth Amendment, private property. Fifth Amendment, intellectual property rights. Ninth Amendment, the people's retained rights, whereby the enumerated rights of government shall not infringe on rights retained by the people. 10th Amendment, federalism as the foundation of personal liberty, limiting the government to only the powers enumerated to it by the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. Yes, that's federal, should cascade down here. Election integrity through honest elections, counting one vote per U.S. citizen. Combat human trafficking with every resource available and prosecute violators to the fullest extent of the law. The foremost institution in America, the nuclear family, including parents as the first and foremost educators in their parental rights. Gender as endowed by our Creator at conception, male and female. Marriage between one man and one woman. Health freedom, including patient rights and controls, individual conscience, and healthcare and tort reform. The free market economy, including but not limited to reducing governmental debt, balanced budgets, free and transparent markets, minimize regulations, overall protection of small business and entrepreneurship. A simple tax code, trade without deficits, American energy independence, educational freedom, including school choice, criminal justice and prison reform, and peace through strength through our military, National Guard, reserves, and veterans, and local law enforcement. For 10 out of the 11 of us, that's the list of standards we should be held to. Those are our principles as Republicans. Now, that being said, with the time allotted, I would also urge that we really think about the principles on which we claim, and I actually want to appreciate what Mr. Zylstra questioned in the last meeting in terms of where is the line? Where is the line when we go behind closed doors and we have these discussions and then it gets to come out here? I don't actually think that was answered. I would like to hear it answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Regina, I don't see anyone else here. Is anybody on? Oh, there is. Yep.
Good evening. Y'all look pretty good today. I'm Kurt Mepling from Zeeland Township. I'm thankful to be able to speak to you guys tonight. With the meeting structure as it is, it's difficult for everyone to get here. So that's a job well done to you, Mr. Chair, because you've stifled your opposition, or at the minimum made it harder for us to be heard. Sure keeps the board out of the news, or at least you guys can control what terms it's on. You see, Ottawa County, we've swung full circle here. The old guard is back. We have the people in place. It's back to business as usual pre-2022. It's normal now. Let that sink in, Ottawa County. We went backwards. We had an interim administrator brazenly shut down 2 commissioners, and the board chair did nothing to support his fellow commissioners. You see, things are back to normal. We have things back the old way in this county. Is being run by the employees, not the elected officials. The elected representatives have listened to their handlers and have hired people who have quit this county at one time. Ask yourself, when does that work to hire somebody who's left the company? One time already. We have the old corporate council back as well, or at least we did in the last meeting, the hurry up Friday meeting. That was interesting. Imagine if the previous board would have did that. I think everybody would have lost their mind. These are the things that in the working world don't usually happen and don't usually, when they do, they don't end well. You see, we live in a republic. We just all swore an oath to a flag to the republic for which it stands. People are represented by this board. You're elected by the people, for the people, or at least some are. So watch carefully and see how and who does what, how smug they are and how evil they are. Fill their inboxes, email them. Some of them actually reply. Commissioner Zylstra, probably he and I have the most difference in a lot of things. I have great conversations with him. He emails me back regularly. Some of you could learn from that. You see, Ottawa County, you get what you deserve. And it's pretty exciting to watch you get what you deserve. This board isn't leading from the front. That's where leaders lead from. They lead from the front. You guys have a good night. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you. All right, Regina, anyone online?
Ms. Patrick, can you hear me?
Yes.
If you can just state your name and your jurisdiction, you have 3 minutes.
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. Rebecca Patrick, Allendale Township, participating tonight from Simsbury, Connecticut. I'd like to briefly address a procedural concern regarding Agenda Item 8C, which is my ethics complaint against Vice Chair Josh Bruger. The issue before you tonight is really a threshold issue, whether or not the concerns raised in my complaint meet the threshold for an investigation. You are not deciding whether my complaint is true, only whether it meets a threshold that merits an investigation using procedural questions such as, does the complaint, if true, violate the board's code of ethics? Is the complaint credible on its face? And does it involve a matter within the board's jurisdiction? In an Ottawa News Network article dated yesterday, the board chair made statements describing my complaint as, quote, unfortunate, defending Vice Chair Bruger's conduct, and minimizing my complaint as focusing on, quote, trees instead of, quote, the forest. These statements indicate to me that the chair has already formed an opinion on the merits of this complaint before the board has had an opportunity to even consider whether it meets the procedural threshold for investigation. Because this creates a clear appearance to me of bias, I respectfully request that the chair recuse himself from participating in or influencing the vote tonight on whether to authorize an investigation. This request is made solely to protect the fairness and integrity of the board's ethics process. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else, Regina? Okay, so next thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Let's go to the consent resolutions. I need a motion, please. So moved. Support?
Mr. Chair,
Allison.
to pull item B, please.
Okay, let's move item 7B to item 8B, right after public hearing. Okay? Then we'll move everything down the list from there. So other than moving out of the consent item, that 7B, any other questions about the consent agenda or resolutions? Yeah? Okay, so I guess we need a roll call.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel, Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, the next is the public hearing regarding the Hope College Bond Initiative. So I need a motion to open the meeting. So moved. Hearing.
Or
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so I understand that there may be someone here from Bond Council from Hope College to address the board before we get into the next issue.
Can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Craig is on and
Hello?
he'll speak and I'll sit.
Yep. Becky, can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me?
So I understand that counsel for Hope College, Bond Council may be online.
Yes. but
You're welcome to,
he was
whoever it
just-
is.
Yeah, he was just let in. So if you just want to invite him to unmute
Okay.
and speak,
Um,
please.
Whoever it is for Hope College, you're welcome to speak. I didn't get a name.
Craig,
Can
are
you
you
hear
out
me?
there to speak to
Well,
this?
yeah,
Can you unmute and speak?
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, there you are. Thank you, Craig.
Can you hear me, Becky? I'm trying to speak.
Yes.
We can
Huh.
hear you.
All right. Shoot.
You can't hear us.
We-
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
No.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Hello?
We can certainly hear you, sir.
Hold up a sign to the camera.
He's texting, it looks like. so.
Okay.
Right.
I think we had this issue before.
Hello?
Yeah, but we're still here.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
All right. So I apologize for the connectivity issues there.
Could you identify your name, please? Or state your
Yes,
name?
I am Craig Hammond with the law firm of Dickinson Wright. We are serving as bond counsel to the Ottawa County Economic Development Corporation. And tonight, there's a public hearing regarding a project plan which has been recommended by the Ottawa County EDC relating to the issuance of revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $10 million by the Ottawa County EDC. And the proceeds of those bonds will be loaned to Hope College. Hope College will use those proceeds to refinance some outstanding debt that they had incurred in the past relating to capital projects on their campus in the city of Holland, and also to use potentially to use that money for some additional capital projects on their campus in the city of Holland. The bonds are a limited obligation of the EDC. They're payable solely from loan payments to be made by the college. The Economic Development Corporation operates pursuant to Act 338 of 1974, and that statute states that the county shall have no liability with respect to the EDC bonds, and that the bonds are payable solely from payments that are made by the borrower, in this case, Hope College. And these bonds are going to be privately placed with PNC Bank in what is effectively a commercial loan transaction between the college and PNC Bank. But by issuing the bonds through the EDC, it allows those bonds to be exempt from federal income taxes. And that allows the college to obtain a lower interest rate than they would have otherwise. And that's basically the federal tax incentive that's being provided for a 501c3 nonprofit corporation by issuing bonds through the EDC. And following the hearing, the county is being asked to consider a resolution approving the project plan and the issuance to the EDC bonds. And that's a required step under the EDC Act for the process of having a project plan approved, the county allowing the EDC to go forward and issue the bonds. And then the EDC will be adopting a resolution expected early in December, and this financing would then close before the end of the year. So that's a summary of why we're having the hearing. I'm happy to take any questions.
Is there any financial obligation to the county or financial liability or risk to the county on this?
No, there's none.
Okay.
Craig, if you could just, in maybe in a little detail, share the difference between a limited obligation and a general obligation bond and how that is an important factor for the county.
Right. Well, first of all, so an EDC bond is not an obligation of the county in any way, but a limited obligation bond in this context means a bond that's payable solely from the revenues received by the EDC through the loan payments made by the city of Holland. Oh, I'm sorry, loan payments made by Hope College. A general obligation bond in the municipal bond world means an obligation that's payable from the full faith and credit. If the county issues a general obligation bond, it's payable from its full faith and credit. It'd be payable from its general fund and from any other sources that would be legally available to repay the debt. But these EDC bonds are not an obligation of the county, either limited or general. The EDC is a separate legal entity, and this is not a liability in any way of the county.
Any other comments? So
I would just add, the county actually makes a little bit of revenue for helping to issue the bonds.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hammond. I think that's it. Next step's ours. I think at this point, so tell me procedurally, do we close the public hearing at this point and then move on to the next agenda?
Yes.
Probably ask for.
Do you have any public comment?
Yeah, so is there any comment, public comment, Hope College bond issuance?
I will just add, spoke to Karen about this. It's true that there's no liability to the county, but it does show up as a footnote in our ACFAR annual financial report, but it does not show up as a liability.
Yeah. I don't see any public comment at all. So I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so let's move on to the next issue, is the actual resolution to approve the project plan and issuance of bond for Hope College.
Support.
Any comments, questions? Okay, do we need a roll call it? No, we do?
Just for the benefit of the
Oh,
resolution.
the resolution does, right. Okay, correct.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so I messed up in the post-ratification contracts. I identified was going to be moved to 8B. It's actually being moved to 8C here. And so I need a motion to ratify all the contracts from the time period of October 25 to November 19, 2025.
So moved.
Support?
Okay, Commissioner.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to separate contract 2828 from the other contracts to be able to discuss and vote on separately.
Support.
Okay, there's a motion to separate contract 2828 from the ratification. Any comment, questions on that one? All right, let's vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, we'll pull 2828. And let's go back to the post ratification of contracts then.
Yep, thank you for that.
Uh,
I just wanted to, so this one is regarding the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance for $45,000. The description in our packet is Community Spoke in Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance annual contract to amplify, coordinate, plan, assess public health services, as well as community needs that impact public health through coordination with nonprofit, faith, business, government, and school sectors. And roughly, I don't have the exact time frame, but roughly a year ago, I believe it was Commissioners Bonema and perhaps Georgezma had met with the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance. And after that, they came and shared that they had planned on making some updates to their website. And obviously, there had been some changes with leadership there. I've had a great conversation with Corey over the phone yesterday. From my perspective, while there could be some great changes that will take place in the future, the changes that were communicated to the board about a year ago have not taken place up to this point on their website. And some of those had to do with DEI and their stance. And I would like an opportunity at this point in time. I'm not feeling comfortable supporting it when we were told about a year ago that would be changed. And so while I think that there could be some great efforts made forward in the future under some new leadership, at this point in time, due to that not really taking place, I don't feel comfortable in supporting this at this date. So that's why I wanted to pull it.
Is Corey here? He is. Okay. Welcome.
And maybe you could speak to the changes that were made.
Absolutely. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for considering this contract ratification. Glad to be here with you this evening. If I can speak both to the timeline that Commissioner Miedema mentioned, as well as some.
Corey, before you start, could you state your full name and your title?
Absolutely. Corey Plockmeyer, Executive Director of the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance and Community Spoke.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, everybody, and also happy Thanksgiving. To speak both to the timeline as well as to the changes that have been made, I'll begin with the changes. We did, at the request of the commissioners, take down the tab that was labeled DEI. It currently says under construction, please check back soon. As you might know, and this is really where we speak to that timeline piece, we had transition in leadership. We not only had a transition in leadership, we also had a transition in program staff. We went from a team of 3 to a team of 1. The individual who held the ship together was not somebody who was really in that position to be empowered to make that change. When the board, there was also some internal communication gaps. When the board became aware of those communication gaps, the change was made immediately to the website. But they wanted to make sure that the new director was in place in order to make sure that we could all be on the same page together. And so I can tell you that the changes to the website are they're in progress. In good governance, my board has to consider them before they go on the website, considering it is something of such importance. I do want to affirm, though, that we as an organization are committed to reflecting the values of Ottawa County. In conversations with several of you as commissioners, I've given the opportunity to raise questions that you have about the direction that things are headed. And so while I recognize that the website does not yet reflect that final position statement, I do believe I've also given the opportunity to address any questions and concerns that you might have about the content of what will eventually be on the website.
I certainly appreciate talking to you. I appreciate your responsiveness, your openness to the whole thing as well. So I'll certainly be supporting this contract.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for your leadership. How long have you been on the job there?
2 months and 2 weeks.
Excellent. So, yeah, we've got a month-long new director here too, and I'm sure he would agree. It's a lot to get under your feet when you're entering a new organization like that. So appreciate you're willing to work with this board. It's a breath of fresh air when, we've got collaborative partners that really come and try to listen to what we have to say. So I appreciate for you doing that up till now, and you're continuing to do that in the future.
Thank you.
Corey, could you maybe share with us what this contract will allow you to do and why it's important?
Absolutely. The work of Community Spoke is really about empowering connection and collaboration. What happens is that I am able to convene together public and private together in order to address what is the data and what are the real needs that we are seeing? How can we foster collaboration? How can we facilitate ways to address gaps that we are seeing in real time? So for instance, earlier this month, we gathered out of our regular rhythm to address the impending disruption to SNAP benefits. Now, I want to be really clear that we did not do so in any sort of reactionary way. It was not a conversation about the shutdown itself. It was a conversation about what are those who are on the front lines, what are they seeing of the impact and the rise in request and need. We were able to make sure that that data was grounded in reality and grounded in what people were actually experiencing in their organizations. We're able to ask, where are there gaps? Who is not being served? And so, for instance, we recognized that one of the gaps was those in rural communities, those who are elderly, and those with limited transportation. We're able to then say, okay, this is something that as you are making program decisions, we hope that you will take seriously those gaps and do what you can to empower them. And then ultimately, we're also able to say, how can we facilitate ways to work together? So one organization on that call, they said, hey, we have a cooler at our growing facility. It was a kids' food basket. They said, we have a cooler at our growing facility. We don't use it out of the growing season. We know that some of you are taking on additional food as you're anticipating distributing it. If anybody needs cold storage, we would love to make that available. And so that's the sort of collaboration that this then empowers by us being empowered by this contract to facilitate these calls, these conversations. Really, this contract is what enables not only us as an organization to invest the time and the effort, but it's also the weight that comes behind it, that I get to function in many ways as a representative of the county, to be able to convene not only our government agencies, but also our private partners and also our philanthropists. And so the first respondents, in fact, to that calendar invitation to this out of rhythm meeting were our local community foundations and the United Way. And so we are able to see private dollars at the table as well to be aware in real time of the gaps and how we could address them. And so for us, it's really about facilitating that ongoing collaboration. And in the grand scheme of the county's budget, that $45,000 really enables ongoing collaboration, and it enables ongoing empowerment of the private sector to step in and fill gaps in collaborative ways.
Yeah, Corey, thank you. you've been attending our Grand Haven Area Chamber of Commerce meetings on a regular basis and giving updates to us up there. And I really, really appreciate you being plugged in with the community. It's great. I think for my question, it may be more of Allison, Commissioner Miedema. I'm on their website right now and I'm trying to find the offending language for Corey's benefit or for mine so I can know what you're talking about.
So one of the areas, if you, I'm not sure where you're at, but if you were under the About tab,
Yeah.
lakeshorenonprofits.org/about, then you're gonna come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs. Starts with our values and at the end is inclusion.
Okay.
Okay, so currently that one this has been left there for months. We're currently working to update our content. We'll post it here soon. Thanks for your patience. So that is an item that has been there since we took this vote the last time that it came before us. We were told, please be patient at that point. And so that's one area that was missing. I can tell you other concerns. I've already shared some of these with Corey, but I would love to share some of them with you. So one of my wonders and my concerns is that I would like a further discussion with this board on, it has nothing to do with the merits of the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance. They do have to do with our desire whether or not government should be funding them. And so that is another thing that we should be taking into consideration. Is that something that Ottawa County should continue investing in as far as it relates to the nonprofit sector? And there's an item under LNA's advocacy process that I, for one, would like more clarity on. I started the conversation with Corey yesterday over the phone, but I would like some actual hard evidence that says when it talks about them taking positions and making public endorsements on their position and writing letters to legislators in support of opposition to proposed policies, I, for one, would want to know as a county commissioner what that actually looks like. I don't want to just be told in person. I want to see what those letters are. What policies are they getting behind? We should know that if we're investing in them, our taxpayer dollars are going for this. That is something that I would take quite seriously. So those are just a couple of my.
Yeah. As far as you know, do you know what letters have gone out?
To my knowledge, we have never actually invoked that advocacy policy. It is a policy that we have on the books in order, because we are not a lobbying organization, but because we are a 501c3, we actually consider it a best practice, and it is a best practice in the nonprofit sector to have a policy outlining when, where, how we would advocate, what we would do if we were asked, and then how we would go about making a decision. And so it's actually there as a best practice as a nonprofit organization to protect us so that we can ensure, and for that matter, to protect you, to ensure that it's not just going to be under the whims of whoever happens to be in my seat at any given time or whoever happens to be on the board, but that there is a deliberative process that goes through our board of directors. And I would say, again, to my knowledge, it has never been invoked. But it is something that, because we also considered a best practice that you put any written policies that you have that are particularly public facing, that you have them on the website. And so that is the reason why it is on our website. And I do want to thank you, Commissioner Miedema, because actually that conversation yesterday did prompt me to make sure to research that, to understand how we have used it, or to that point, how we have not used it. And so I would certainly say that I think adding some sort of framing language around the reason why this policy is listed on the website is certainly something that I would be open to doing if it would help ease any discomfort around it. But to my knowledge, we have never invoked it, and it is purely for outlining the process, because it is a best practice to ensure that we make that clear.
Mr. Chair. Yeah. Corey, thank you for being here. I want to compliment you first before I criticize you. How about that? I've been seeing you everywhere, and I appreciate that. You're basically on a listening tour. You know, you've been very eager to connect and engage and talk to the community and get to know who you serve, your organization. I think you truly understand the role of LNA, which is to be a catalyst to help, identify the problem with potential solutions and then work with the two organizations to get the right decision makers together to find that solution, get it funded, get it taken care of, to advocate for things as well. And advocating, and I've encouraged you to do this, to really stay focused on the things that have broad bipartisan support, right? Let's just stay out of the weeds, left or right. Let's just stay, on the things, hunger, holy cow, these are basic needs. So that's where I'd like to see LNA continue to focus its efforts. I know you're working with your new board to figure out the language around that. But I want to compliment you first. You weren't here, but when Commissioners Barry, Jortsma, and I sat down and brought some of the concerns that we had, to your organization's radar, so to speak, and they did respond right away. They were receptive to collaborating on a solution, a path forward. So that's what I want to compliment you on, is that you guys did hear our voice, you listened, and you did respond. Now that you're here and you've been here a month, I think, given, I understand it's been a year, to Commissioner Miedema's point, but, let's be reasonable here, that we'll give you a chance to actually, put this together. I have expressed to you the same point that Commissioner Miedema said, and that there's a role of the government here that needs to be considered. And I think that this would be a great conversation, not just for LNA, but for all of the nonprofits that we support. If the administrator would make sure that this conversation could be on the strategic planning meeting schedule to talk about how we help and how where do we need to be where it's not an abuse of the taxpayer dollar for different scenarios. And in your scenario, I've expressed that I desire, you guys are well established now. You've been well connected in the community. You're well supported as far as the people know who you are. It wasn't always that way. And you needed our support. You needed some early funds to help you get going. And your organization is there now. So I wouldn't mind having a discussion, not just for LNA, but for all of these, that once an organization matures to a certain standpoint, that we look to stair step the county's money down off of where it is, not cut you off cold turkey. There's a great book out there, When Helping Hurts. And, you can help people, and then cut your support, and then that ends up, hurting the organization, in many cases, sinking the organization. We would never want to do that. So that would be my sentiment, and I appreciate you for listening to it and being kind in your response as we talk through that, because nobody wants to hear about less support. But I hope that we can continue to spotlight the good work that you're doing, so that the county tax dollars don't have to be the support, that it's the community that continues to pick up the burden, the churches and others, nonprofits that come and support the good work that you're doing. I will be supporting this tonight.
Thank you. Finish up my, yeah, thank you, Allison and Jacob, for the follow-up and as well. I think for me, I'm looking at the website and I understand that, yes, it's frustrating to read that we're currently working to update our content and we'll post here soon. But for me, as I recall, the truly offending information to a number of commissioners was regarding DEI statements, and those have all been removed. I can't find them on here. So I don't find it offensive to read this, that you're under, and I understand it's been a while, but at the same point, or at the same time, the offending statement is not there anymore. So I'm good with it as it is. And I don't want to keep moving your carrot further out every time you come in. So I'm going to definitely support this. I will also echo the statements that have been made that, yes, from mandated versus non-mandated expense or donations, contributions that the county makes to the community, we're going to be taking a close look at that. So it may come out in the wash down the road that, hey, we'll be, ratcheting back a little bit on some things. I don't know if Spoke is one of those, but it may very well be. So stay tuned for further details on that, and we'll be diving into that during our strategic planning session and a number of times after that. So thank you for your time.
Sylvia.
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts. And a lot of these, Corey, aren't, directly related to you as a person. And I do welcome a conversation with you coming up here. Fundamentally, I
and more opposed to NGOs directing government responsibilities. We're finding that that's really quite problematic, as has been identified through the whole DOGE effort. Just, across our nation, we've been contracting out government responsibilities to NGOs. And what's ended up happening is that the NGOs are leading government around by the nose and really directing, how government should operate instead of, government making its own decisions. And so just fundamentally, I'm less and less supportive of NGOs doing directive work on behalf of government. I think it's easy for taxpayer money to begin to be used for political work and for support of those engaged in political advocacy, which government, taxpayers may or may not be aligned with. Some of the money goes towards training and standing up progressive leaning organizations. And in the past, that has included DEI efforts here in this county. I know that you weren't a part of that, but that is, what this organization has done. An example of that for me is that, Ottawa News Network is a part of your, of your membership. And, that is a nonprofit that regularly and vehemently writes in opposition to many members of this board. And so to me, I have a hard time supporting entities that regularly shoot me in the foot. So I think that, I think that there's definitely a place for nonprofits and there's beautiful work that's done there, but I think it is perhaps healthier for that funding and for that organization to be coming from our community foundations. To me, that's a more appropriate funding source for our nonprofits and for private donors, that kind of thing. I think that it just starts to get pretty tangled up with government. So again, I welcome a further conversation because of my personal belief, and it's pretty strong in that at this point. I'm going to be voting against this tonight.
Mr. Chair, may I respond to some of the comments? First, I just want to say, again, thank you so much for the conversation. For those of you who I have not had the chance to meet with personally, if you haven't gotten a direct invitation, know that it's coming. Second, I just want to say on that, on really the two concerns. First, I want to clarify that Community Spoke is a program of the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance. Up until 2023, Community Spoke and the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance were two separate 501c3 organizations. They were merged in 2023 so that Community Spoke is a program of the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance. What that means very practically is that Community Spoke does actually have a designated membership that is different than the overall membership of the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance. Community Spoke's membership, you have to be serving the county on a broad basis. It has to be somebody of a health and human service agency and a broad health and human service focus. I don't have the exact list of all of the organizations that are part of Community Spoke, but it includes, and this goes to the second conversation piece, which is around government funding for this. And I certainly want to say I welcome the ongoing conversation as part of the strategic planning process. But if I can say, those agencies include the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office and the Crisis Intervention Team. It includes the Ottawa County Department of Public Health and Community Mental Health. It includes Ottawa County Department of Health and Human Services. These are government agencies that, to be frank, I don't know that they will continue to give the priority to Community Spoke if we are not viewed as essentially deputized on behalf of the county to do that gathering work and that convening work of Community Spoke. And so that is really why I would continue to advocate for that continued funding, while certainly being open to a conversation about the right amounts. But it really is about what that deputizing, what that empowering does on behalf of the county. And to your point, Commissioner Rohde, I do want to say, I certainly recognize the concern of NGOs leading government rather than the other direction. And I guess I can just simply say that I would hope that my track record already of outreach to each and every one of you, of my presence at the September Planning and Policy Commission, the fact that I'll be on the Planning and Policy Commission agenda once per quarter, as well as making sure that I was here tonight for a contract ratification. All of that, I hope, demonstrates that we as an organization are committed to ongoing dialogue with the county rather than trying to lead the way or hide what we are doing. And so that's simply how I hear all of your concerns. I welcome the conversation, but I just wanted to take a moment to address those.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I think just, for me, long term, I hear you saying I'm deputizing on behalf of Ottawa County, and I appreciate the collaboration that's happening there. But I just personally believe that it probably belongs underneath the county administrator in helping to facilitate all of those things moving, and working together. So that's just my personal view.
Bill?
Thank you. I just had a couple questions. Do you know how many years that Spoke or LNA has done this type of work with the county?
I do not know exactly how long. I know that Patrick Sizzler was hired as the first executive director of the Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance in 2013. I do not know for sure when Spoke itself began being work on behalf of the county.
Okay. But it's been a while, probably. So do you know historically how often these gatherings happen? Because it's not something that, at least as a board member, I haven't been aware of it.
So Community Spoke gathers bi-monthly. It has generally a membership of, the meetings are usually attended by around somewhere between 40 to 50 members of the health and human service sector. They were historically held here at the Fillmore Complex. We did move out for a while, but we have shared that once we can get back into the main conference room on a consistent basis, which, this room is getting used all the time. So beginning in September, when we are able to consistently and reliably use the main conference room, we will be gathering here at the Fillmore Complex once again, really trying to lean into, that reality that we are doing this work for the entire county.
I do like that idea. And so if this moves forward, which I think it will, then I would encourage that to come back here. I think that would be helpful. I was not aware that you would be reporting once per quarter. So is that new?
My understanding is that there was always an invitation, and it was not always necessarily required or asked. And so we have made that commitment, though, that I will be present once a quarter.
Okay. I also want to thank you for meeting. I want to thank you for your attitude and for how forthcoming you've been. I really enjoyed the conversation that we had one-on-one, and I think that was very helpful. A couple of things I've noticed is that you have, and you've even mentioned this tonight, but in our conversation, you were focused on data and on process. So I really appreciate that. A lot of times when we're at the board level, we don't always see the data, but that sounds like something that you are fairly committed to. And that's a way that you think, at least that's what I've heard every time we've talked. So I wanted to say I appreciated that. And I've struggled on if I want to vote yes or no on this. I like the new direction. I do want to echo Commissioner Bonema's comments that I do think over time, organizations and especially nonprofits that are doing work directly with the county at some level should stand on their own. So I also support that. If I vote yes tonight, then it may be sort of the last time. And I would like to see a very concerted effort by the board and in strategic planning to have us look at how we interact with nonprofits. Now, on the other hand, the amount of money we're talking about is not a huge amount of money. It's like $3,500 a month or something like that. So if you had been here for the last 6 months or last year and you had the data, it might be a lot easier to vote, but those are my comments.
Okay. So contract 2825, Lakeshore Nonprofit Alliance contract has been pulled.
2828.
2828. So we need a motion to approve that contract.
So moved.
Or second, okay. Want to take a roll call on that one? Please?
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
No.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
No.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, so the next
Cheers.
one, thank you very much, Corey. So we're back to the remaining contracts on the post-execution ratification of contracts. Need a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Got a second? Did you get a second, somebody?
Support.
Yeah, you already voted on that before.
Did we vote on? I
already
don't
did a
think we
motion.
did.
I don't think we
I don't think we
We
did.
didn't vote, but you motioned already.
Okay, so let's take a roll call vote then. Okay.
Mr. Kyers,
Yes.
Mr. Moss,
Yes.
Mrs. Miedema,
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Yes.
Mr. Barry,
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
Yes.
Mr. Bonema,
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Yes.
Mr. Georgezma,
Yes.
Mr. Teeples,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. Next on the agenda are is dealing with a special committee, dealing with the Code of Ethics policy. I'd like to just refer it back to our county corporate counsel, Ron Bolche, to make sure that the ethics policy that we're following is in compliance with the law.
In terms of the three-quarter vote
Yeah,
requirement,
yeah.
I am comfortable with that. That ethics policy was adopted by a majority of the board. A majority of the board voted. There was no extra majority requirement for the adoption of that policy in the first place. Once having chosen to have an ethics policy, the board chose by that vote to have more than a majority requirement to pursue the procedure, and that is a legitimate option. Under MCL 46.11M, the board establishes the rules and regulations to manage the county interests in all matters. Under 4632, nothing in the County Act is meant to abridge the powers of the county board unless specifically mentioned. So I am comfortable that the board adopting this ethics policy by majority vote has the right to establish more than a majority to institute the policy.
So thank you. Look, could you also address whether or not the two individuals we're talking about in this case, Commissioner Bruger and Commissioner Moss, should be voting on this on their own, on their particular motion
Yes.
matter?
Well, we start with the general rule that commissioners should vote on all matters before you. There are specific exceptions. I don't believe this is one of those exceptions. Number one, it's not a conflict under our rules, and our rules follow the County Act on what a conflict is. This is more akin to voting on your pay. It's a governmental obligation. Only you can do it. And so it is not a conflict of interest under either your rules or under state law. To not allow them to vote is to make them a no vote, which is contrary to the interest of the people bringing the allegation. Thirdly, a commissioner may invite an investigation, may want to have an investigation, and should have the ability to vote for that. So if you can vote for it, then you got to be able to vote against it. So for that reason, I would say the commissioners should participate in this process.
Okay, thank you. So next thing on the agenda is a motion to form a committee per our ethics policy to investigate the complaint against Commissioner Bruger regarding an October 1, 2025 email to Rebecca Patrick. Need a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Support.
Okay, discussion.
I can start. Yeah. For one, I know Mr. Bruger personally, and I kind of know the situation here, and I don't feel that whatever intent that they think it was, I don't feel it was that intent. So, in that fact, I'll be voting for not performing a committee.
What else?
Sure.
Jacob?
I've taken the time to read the correspondence and to talk to both sides. And like Commissioner Kyers just said, you know, in knowing both of them and knowing them, you know, for an extended amount of time now, I know character and I know intent and I know desire. And I've watched Commissioner Bruger over and over and over work to make sure that the minority's voice gets heard. And the allegation against him is that he was working to actually silence the minority or somebody's voice that, you know, maybe would be in opposition in some way, shape, or form. And that's just not in line with the character that I've seen from Commissioner Bruger in the time that I've known him. So I also don't see merit to this complaint and will not be voting to use taxpayer dollars on something like this. I don't think this is what the people of Ottawa County want to see.
So I also,
Comment.
I'm sorry, somebody's
John.
got something? Jim?
In this particular situation, there's an email and a reply. We've got email traffic to this. I'm not sure what else there is to investigate when we have access to the communications that went forward. I think this was communication mistake. I don't attribute any malice to Josh, Commissioner Bruger's comments on this, and yeah, I won't be voting to investigate this further.
I also do not believe that the complaint meets the threshold for the policy. I think it was ill-advised, and it could unfortunately caused a misunderstanding, a significant one. And I understand in reading the email how it could create a misunderstanding, but I do not believe that that was the intent, and nor do I believe it meets the threshold for the policy. So I'll also be voting against the commission or the committee. Anyone else?
I'll just echo what you said. I'll be voting no as well.
Allison?
Yeah, the whole board did see my response right after the first email. I've had a lot of time to weigh in to seeing the different correspondence, and I would agree with my fellow board members. I don't see that it was done with a malicious intent. And so when I'm looking at the different things here, while it was unfortunate of how it happened, and I will be voting no against this as well.
Anyone else? Sylvia?
Yes, so, you know that when the first emails went out, I expressed my thoughts on it already at that time. And, I think that in this particular instance, that was the appropriate way to deal with this. You know, if we have concerns about, you know, something that one of us have done, I think it's appropriate for us to let the other person know. But I don't see that this rises to the level of, you know, wasting taxpayer time and money on doing a special investigation. I don't think this is something that will probably happen again. I think that we all learn as we go, so I'll be voting no on this.
Okay, Rachel, can you take a roll?
Mr. Zylstra,
Yes.
Mr. Bruger,
No.
Mr. Georgezma,
No.
Mr. Kyers.
No.
Mr. Barry,
No.
Mrs. Medema,
No.
Mr. Bonema,
No.
Mrs. Rhodey,
No.
Mr. Moss,
No.
Mrs. Wenzel,
No.
Mr. Teeples.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, the next is a motion to form a committee per the ethics policy to investigate complaints against Commissioner Moss regarding his handling of the December 10, 2024 closed session meeting. Need a motion and a second. So moved.
Support.
Okay, comments?
Yeah, I can start. I think about this very similarly to the motion that we just took. Obviously, you know, everyone here was at our September meeting when this issue kind of came to light. And when I brought it up then, I said what I'll say now, and that's I never brought it up to litigate it here at this board level. I don't think this is the appropriate venue for it. I think the public knowing was good. But I don't intend to belabor this and get this body further distracted and further off course from what we should be focusing on. If the public wants to take this up and, you know, have public discourse about it, I think that is appropriate. But I will be voting no on this.
Jacob?
I guess, you know, from my perspective, you know, these investigations, they take time. They take resources. They take a lot of emotional wear and tear on the governing board. The people want to see us work for them. You know, they want to see accountability. Mr. Zimmer and others have done a great job of helping these things come to light. You know, for me, at the end of last year, when I saw these things taking place that I took issue with, you know, I saw something and I said something. That was my role, to point that out. And I found in time, you know, I'm 40, what am I? I'm turning 49 years old this month. And meeting folks and seeing them go through these types of situations, everyone learns from their time in service, at work, whatever they're doing. And, you know, when I originally sat down with Lisa Stefnosky, who at the time was the head of the health department, and this is kind of post-COVID, and I asked her to reflect a little bit on her time of leading the health department, if there's anything that that she would have done differently, knowing what she knows now. And she impressed me with just being honest and vulnerable and saying, yes, you know, I wish I would have done this differently and that differently. And, you know, I've talked about this publicly before, and I really appreciate it, because sometimes when you give people the opportunity to set the record straight, to clear the air, to show remorse, show regret, you know, sometimes people get their hand caught in the cookie jar. They actually admit wrong. And I'd like to give you that opportunity, Mr. Moss. If you would like to address maybe statements like saying that the $4 million was a false narrative created by the media. Do you regret saying things like that? Or in this case with both Wetmore and Epperson's gross misuse of taxpayer dollars based on evidence that wasn't allowed to be presented to the board, that you said that the HR investigating attorney was not available, that you said when he was, and many other things that, you know, I think now that it's out, thanks to Mr. Zimmer and others, you know, the public knows the rest of the story. And, you know, these things need to be brought to light. Things that are done in the dark need to be brought to light so that truth can take place. So I'd like to give you the opportunity to respond to the people of Ottawa County now that the truth is out there, and hear your thoughts on this.
Anyone else have any comments they'd like to make? Go, Josh.
I seem to have recent experience with this situation. That was an attempt at a joke. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Joe. Just to piggyback on the prior vote and to let everyone know, per Jacob's suggestion here, that absolutely I could have worded things differently with Ms. Patrick. Agree with that completely. I had one line in a speech I wrote that I didn't give, that I don't plan on, but I will share this line. Members of this board know that if I have something on my mind, I'll say it. I'm blunt. My wife would say that I struggle with being Dutch. So in this case, Joe, I'll try not to be too blunt, but I do think you could have done better, just as I could have done better. I appreciate Commissioner Bonhama's comments, and you know, if you care to take the opportunity to address some of those, that'd be wonderful. But this is a learning experience for us all. And on the Republican Party side of things, y'all have censored me numerous times. And I really enjoy the opportunity to vote this down right now, because I think I personally ran, and many of us ran, on a platform of transparency. And we got transparency. And as far as this is concerned, my work here, if it were our work here is done. I'm ready to move on. So thank you.
Anyone else? So I've got a couple comments that I wrote out so that I would be able to express it. I spent the last 2 years, and particularly the last 11 months, on nearly a 24/7 basis, focused on stopping, exposing, and righting the overreach, mismanagement, monetary irresponsible decisions, and divisive actions which I believe existed with the prior Board of Commissioners. I freely accepted this responsibility with the same dedication, prudence, and objectivity as I have served my legal clients for almost 40 years. I don't know how to do otherwise. I'm not a politician and have never made a decision based on politics, nor will I ever make a decision for spite, revenge, or retaliation. My sole objective is to do what is best for Ottawa County. I take the complaints against Commissioner Moss very seriously. However, my assessment of this matter did not just begin a month or so ago. I've been considering and evaluating the details of this matter for several months. I believe Commissioner Moss violated his duty as chairman during the December 10, 2024 closed-door meeting, including by not making Mr. Epperson's complaint available for review by the other commissioners, and by not telling the board that he, Commissioner Moss, was also a target of Epperson's complaint, and said he and others placed the blame of the complaint solely on HR and John Gibbs, and made or allowed other misstatements of facts, expressly or impliedly, which were not transparent to the unknowing commissioners. In my opinion, Commissioner Moss had a personal interest in having this matter go away quickly and quietly as possible, including given other matters in the public domain against the board's actions at the time. I also believe that there were others at that meeting who also had personal stakes in the settlement with Mr. Epperson, but who never sought to correct the facts as outlined by Mr. Moss. However, after careful consideration, I've come to believe that the board has done all it can legitimately and reasonably do with regard to this matter by exposing the facts underlying that meeting and decision. In my opinion, any further investigation into this matter will not bring us closer to understanding the facts than which currently exist, and would be a waste of time and money. It is time to end this matter. We are at that end. It is time to move on from the errors of the past board, including those of Commissioner Moss. We have nothing more to learn or gain. It is time to put the past behind us as a county. Much work has been accomplished by this board since last January to reset the stage, so to speak, so we can move on to more important and pressing issues facing the county, such as depleting groundwater aquifer, trying to help and protect our most vulnerable population, and housing and transportation concerns. I hope you will join me in moving forward together. Some of you will not like my decision, but I hope you will at least acknowledge my efforts and sincerity. I believe my decision to not support this motion is in the best interest of Ottawa County. If there's no other comments, will you take a?
I will. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was hoping that Mr. Moss would comment. Do you plan to give comment?
I'll comment on the 4 million, but I'll save it for my commissioner comments.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I mean, I've been the target of a lot of your attacks, and it's not healthy for the county. It's just not. It's not healthy because it's a huge distraction from the work that they've elected us to do. I've made the decision that 2026, I want us, as the chair has just said, to come together to really focus on the work of the county that needs to get done. No more, this and that. I don't want to get into it. I want to give you the opportunity to speak to it, but I'd like for it to be done tonight. I'd like to bury the hatchet. I'd like to move forward. Thank you. It's important for us. There's a lot at stake. We have 300,000 people in this county. We have a $300+ million budget that we're entrusted to watch over. That's where our focus should be, their needs. I am heartened that we have a board here that desires fiscal responsibility. I'm going to do my best to live up to that standard that we've been elected to carry out. I would like for all of this to end tonight. And so I will not be supported, no matter what you have to say. And I want you to know that I want to invest in our future going forward, that we can find things to vote on unanimously that make tomorrow better than yesterday for the people of Ottawa County. And that the divisive language and politics and attacks and all the names, the people are tired of it. We need to move forward. I need to move forward. I hope you feel the same way, and you're nodding, and I appreciate that, and you're smiling, and I appreciate that. So I will not be supporting this investigation of you, Commissioner Moss.
Commissioner Rhodey?
Yep, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, I just think it's really important to say that Monday morning quarterbacking is really easy, especially when you weren't in the room. You didn't know everything that happened. It's not possible to. As you know, now as you are leading the county, there's a lot of work that goes on, and much of it is behind the scenes. And so there's a lot that you don't know. And quite frankly, I'm tired of watching the character of Joe Moss be smeared. And it's been really disgusting for the last 2 years, what has happened to him. You know, when we came into office, we could have done an ARPA investigation. We could have done lawsuits to try to claw back $57 million that rolled out of here for non-governmental functions, but we didn't. We could have done an investigation into how COVID-19 was handled. We could have called multiple employees to testify. We could have, dug into how the commissioners handled things, but we didn't. Sometimes it's better just to press forward. So I'm thankful that I hear that from you, and it's well beyond time for that to happen. That's all I have to say.
Rachel, could you take the roll?
Mr. Georgezma?
No.
Mr. Barry?
No.
Mrs. Medema?
No.
Mr. Moss?
No.
Mrs. Rhodey?
No.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
No.
Mr. Kyers?
No.
Mr. Bonema?
No.
Mr. Bruger?
No.
Mr. Teeples?
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the risk management policy for a first reading. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion.
Liz.
Okay. Josh, you got a comment?
No, Allison, did we get everything? I thought it was you or Sylvia who said we had something else we missed, or was it Doug?
There was one line that we talked about in one of the committee meetings, and it's in there.
Sorry, I thought Allison had it, but what?
It's covered in there, so that was the only comment that was made. So do we need we don't need it, we just, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, let's go into the alignment and committee votes. First one is the Agricultural Preservation Board. Do you want to?
Do you want me to read these? Okay.
Please.
Sorry. One moment. Okay. The motion is to override the 12-year term limit provision stated in the appointment to boards and commissions policy to allow Mike Bronkema to serve the remainder of his current term on the Agricultural Preservation Board through December 31 of 2027. So moved.
Comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I just wanted to say this was a common thing we did back when I was commissioner. We'd run into this, but nobody would apply, and they were doing a great job with this. And so we would just move them forward. So I think this is a good thing to do.
Mike's a great addition on that board.
Exactly.
So we've just passed that motion, right? Okay, now next one, Josh.
Officers Compensation Commission member seats. To place into nomination the names of Ron France, Amanda Price, Larry Jackson, Nathan Slower, and Rebecca Patrick. And to select three to fill three Officer Compensation Commission member seat vacancies for one term beginning January 1, 2026, and ending December 31, 2029.
Support.
Josh, can you point out the asterisks?
Yep, so the asterisks are the recommendations from the Appointment and Alignment Committee. And the letter I represents a current incumbent.
I'll second the motion, Rachel. I don't think you had a second on that.
I think Joe seconded.
I supported it, yeah.
Oh, got it.
Okay, so you need to, yeah, okay, so you want to start that?
3 names.
Renee?
Okay. Mr. Bruger,
France, Price, Slower.
Mr. Zylstra,
Jackson, Slower, and Patrick.
Mr. Kyers,
France, Price, and Slower.
Mr. Barry,
France, Price, and Slower.
Mr. Moss,
Ron, Amanda, Nathan.
Mr. Georgezma,
France, Price, Slower.
Mrs. Rhodey,
France, Price, and Slower.
Mrs. Miedema,
Ron France, Amanda Price, and Nathan Slower.
Mr. Bonema, Mrs. Wenzel,
Ron France, Amanda Price, Nathan Slower.
Mr. Teeples,
Ron Franz, Amanda Price, Nathan Slower.
Ron France, Amanda Price, and Nathan Slower.
Thank you. Next one, Josh.
Okay, Agricultural Preservation Board, agricultural seat. Motion is I move to place into nomination the name of Cliff Mewson and to select one to fill one Agricultural Preservation Board agricultural seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
In this case, Cliff is the only applicant.
Any
So he
comments,
is
questions?
recommended.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, keep going, Josh.
Okay. Agricultural Preservation Board, real estate seat. I move to place into nomination the names of Mary Nader, Jaron Nyhoff, and to select one to fill one Agricultural Preservation Board real estate seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
And Jaron Nyhoff has the asterisks, meaning he's been recommended by the Appointment and Alignment.
Okay, Rachel.
Mr. Bruger,
Nyhoff.
Mr. Zylstra,
Jaron Nyhoff.
Mr. Kyers,
Aaron Nyhoff.
Mr. Barry,
Jaron Nyhoff.
Mr. Moss,
Jaron Nyhoff.
Mr. Georgezma, Mrs. Rhodey,
Nyhoff.
Mrs. Miedema,
Nyhoff.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Jaron Nyhoff.
Mr. Teeples.
Nyhoff.
Jaron Nyhoff is the winner.
Okay, Josh.
Agricultural Preservation Board, Township Government seat. I move to place into nomination the name of Cassandra Chalfalker, apologies, and to select one to fill one Agricultural Preservation Board Township Government seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Josh.
I move to place into nomination the names of Emmett Brown, Nathan Slower, Sharon Kozak, and Mary Nader, and to select one to fill one Community Action Agency Advisory Board Private Sector seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
I have a question. Why do we not have a recommendation from the committee on this one?
We had 5 on the committee and each applicant needed at least 3 votes. So if there's not an asterisk, someone did not receive 3 votes.
They were just really good applicants.
There we go.
They
That-
were really good. No, they were. That's
So it's
just
an even
like,
better way to say that. They absolutely all were.
very good applicants.
Thank you for.
There
bringing
also
that
was an
catch.
email just to remind the board from Jennifer Brzezowski on this particular one. And she had agreed with one of the recommendations of Nathan Slower. So just for what it's worth, in case you didn't see that email that was put out there.
Mhm.
And I voted for Mary Nader because I thought she was outstanding, so I'm going to put that out there, so.
All right, Rachel.
Mr. Bruger,
Slower.
Mr. Zylstra,
Sharon Kozak.
Mr. Kyers,
Mary Nader.
Mr. Barry,
Mary Nader.
Mr. Moss,
Nathan Slower.
Mr. Georgezma,
Nader.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Nathan Flower.
Mrs. Medema,
Nathan Slower.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Nathan Slower.
Mr. Teeples.
Nathan Slower.
Nathan Slower has the most votes.
Okay, next one, Josh.
I move to place in a nomination the names of Megan Kirby and Danielle Weeks, and to select one to fill one Community Action Agency Advisory Board Public Sector seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026, and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
Questions, comments? Okay, Rachel.
Mr. Bruger,
Weeks.
Mr. Zylstra,
Danielle Weeks.
Mr. Kyers,
Danielle Weeks.
Mr. Barry,
Danielle Weeks.
Mr. Moss,
Daniel Weeks.
Mr. Georgezma,
Weeks.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Daniel Weeks.
Mrs. Medema,
Danielle Weeks.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Danielle Weeks.
Mr. Teeples.
Danielle Weeks.
Daniel Weeks has the most votes.
Okay, Josh.
I move to place in a nomination the names of Ryan Havey and Randy Quartering, and to select one to fill one Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy Committee Private Sector seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026, and ending December 31, 2026.
Support.
Questions or comments? Rachel.
Mr. Bruger,
Quartering.
Mr. Zylstra,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Kyers,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Barry,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Moss,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Georgezma,
Quartering.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Randy Quarterling.
Mrs. Medema,
Randy Quartering.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Teeples.
Randy Quartering.
Randy Quartering has the most votes.
Okay, Josh.
All right, I move to place in a nomination the names of Sharon Kozak, Barbara Van Horsen, Michelle Moore, Kelsey Whitcomb, and Nathan Slower, and to select one to fill one Department of Health and Human Services Board County Resident seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026, and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
I'll just make a quick comment. I initially voted for Ms. Moore, and I have since had a really good conversation with Ms. Van Horsen. She wishes to continue to serve, and I'll be voting for her today.
Any other comments or questions?
I'd like to comment. I think she's really qualified well as what she does in the community, how she works the community. And I really think I would continue to support Min Horson.
Josh
Chair.
or Allison?
I'll be voting for Sharon Kozak, and one reason is, while I appreciate Barbara's time there, I do think that due to her working at the Momentum Center, and this is something that serves the Momentum Center, I would prefer having someone with a non-biased person there that is able to take into account all the different organizations. And I do think sometimes when you are working in that same field that connects with the Momentum Center as much as it does, I would prefer putting someone in there that doesn't have that same connection. So Sharon had a great interview, and I'm going to be voting for Sharon.
Any other questions, comments? Rachel?
Mr. Bruger,
Van Horsen.
Mr. Zylstra,
Barbara Lee, please.
oh, sorry.
I think she introduced herself as Barbara Lee, so.
Oh,
Barbara
I'm
Van
so
Horsen.
sorry. Okay. Mr. Kyers,
Barbara Van Horsen.
Mr. Barry,
Barbara Van Horsen.
Mr. Moss,
Sharon Kozak.
Mr. Georgezma,
Van Horsen.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Sharon Kozak.
Mrs. Medema,
Sharon Kozak.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Sharon Kozak.
Mr. Teeples.
Barbara Van Horsen.
Barbara Van Horsen has the most votes.
Okay, Josh?
I move to recommend to the board chairperson and nominate the names of Elizabeth Butler, Tim Madey, Gil Segovia, Ryan Harvey, Rebecca Patrick, Nathan Slower, Dan Klompmaker, Michelle Pokwerka, and Jack Vandermeulen, and to select three to fill three Economic Development Corporation and Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Director seat vacancies for one term beginning January 1, 2026, and ending December 31, 2031.
Support.
Questions, comments?
Comments, I'd like to, I voted for Elizabeth Butler as one of the third ones. She really did a good job in Grand Haven Chamber area when she was on economic development. So I think she's a good fit for that. So I will be supporting Elizabeth Butler on top of the other two.
Allison?
Just another name to consider. Tim Madey had an excellent interview. I thought he had a good balance of the balancing out interests of corporations and constituents. He's had a lot of work in the community of Zealand, being an assessor, planning and zoning, working with tax abatements and incentives. And so for that reason and others, I will be voting for him.
Comments?
Jim?
I'd second. I dealt with Tim Madey on a condo project I did in Zealand, and he's involved with community development there and was a good guy to work with and very knowledgeable, be easy to work with. Also make mention of Jack Vandermeulen, who's has a construction business, mostly residential, but I think they do a little commercial too. Families had a construction company. His dad started it. That's great background for the brownfield redevelopment, so I'll be supporting him too.
And I'm going to be voting for Jack Vandermeulen. He's doing a great job on that board right now, and he had, if you recall, he filled in on short notice to complete an opening that we needed urgently filled in order to fund the Hope College, or excuse me, to approve the Hope College bond issuance through the EDC. So I owe a debt of gratitude to Jack, and he's been doing a great job. Dan Klontmaker also got the recommendation of appointment and alignment. And I love Elizabeth. I love Elizabeth. She would do a great job, and she is fantastic in the north part of the county. For me, I'm going to be voting for Tim Madey because not only is it fun to say his last name, we could use a little more representation from further south and east in the county. Right now, we're very heavily to northwest Ottawa County, which I appreciate as I represent it, but we do have some diverse perspectives there. So I'll be voting for Tim.
Rachel?
Mr. Bruger,
Madey, Vandermeulen, Klontmaker.
Mr. Zylstra,
Rebecca Patrick, Dan Klontmaker, and Jack Vandermeulen.
Mr. Kyers,
Elizabeth Butler, Dan Klumpenmaker, and Jack Vandermeulen.
Mr. Barry,
Tim Madey, Dan Klontmaker, and Jack Vandermeulen.
Mr. Moss,
Tim Madey, Dan Klontmaker, and Jack Vandermeulen.
Mr. Geortsma,
Madey, Klontmaker, Vandermeulen.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Tim Madey, Dan Klontmaker, and Jack Vandermeulen.
Mrs. Miedema,
Tim Madey, Dan Klontmaker, and Jack Vandermeulen.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Tim Madey, Dan Klontmaker, Jack Vandermeulen.
Mr. Teeples.
Dan Klontmaker, Jack Vandermeulen, and Rebecca Patrick.
Klontmaker, Madey, and Vandermeulen have the most votes.
Okay,
Thank you.
I move to place in a nomination the names of Jerry Geertman and Henry Worksma, and to select one to fill one groundwater board agricultural sector seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
Any questions or comments? Okay, Rachel?
Mr. Bruger,
Geertman,
Mr. Zylstra,
Jerry Geertman.
Mr. Kyers,
Jerry Gertman.
Mr. Barry,
Jerry Gertman.
Mr. Moss,
Jerry Geertman.
Mr. Geortsma,
Geertman.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Jerry Geertman.
Mrs. Miedema,
Geertman.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Jerry Geertman.
Mr. Teeples.
Jerry Gertman.
Jerry Geertman with the most votes.
I move to place into nomination the names of Steve Hexel, Rebecca Patrick, David Wardell, and to select one to fill one groundwater board scientific community seat vacancy for one term beginning immediately and ending December 31, 2027.
Support.
Just a quick word of note, I'll be voting for David Wardell tonight. If you go through the packet, the seat is scientific community, and his background is extensive with science. The other two had good interviews as well, but I do feel like this one fits the scientific community seat the best. And so for that reason, I'll be voting for David.
Bill?
Scientifically, Steve Hexel has a ton of data. He's a well driller. He's one of the top well drillers in the county. He's been working with the groundwater board off and on. He has been, he went out to Colorado on his own, paid for himself just to get more knowledge of what groundwater is and getting back into what it can be in Ottawa County. So I would support Steve Hexel for his knowledge and what he can bring to the board.
Okay, Rachel?
Mr. Bruger,
Hexel,
Mr. Zylstra,
Steve Hexon.
Mr. Kyers,
Steve Hexel.
Mr. Barry,
Steve Hexel.
Mr. Moss,
Wardell.
Mr. Georgezma,
Excellent.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Wardell.
Mrs. Medema,
David Wardwell.
Mrs. Wenzel,
David Wardell.
Mr. Teeples.
Stephen Hexel.
Stephen Hexel has the most votes.
Okay, I move to place into nomination the names of Joel Davenport, Mark Pekarsky, Henry Worksma, and to select one to fill one groundwater board utilities engineering seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
Support.
No questions or comments. Okay, Rachel.
Mr. Bruger,
Worksma.
Mr. Zylstra,
Henry Worksma.
Mr. Kyers,
Henry Worksma.
Mr. Barry,
Henry Worksma.
Mr. Moss,
Henry Worksma.
Mr. Georgezma,
Worksma.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Worksma.
Mrs. Medema,
Henry Worksma.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Worksma.
Mr. Teeples.
Henry Worksma.
Henry Worksma has the most votes.
I move to place into nomination the names of Terry DeHaan, Dan Klumpmaker, Orlando Estrada, Derek Muhlenberg, Rebecca Hopp, and Nathan Slower, and to select one to fill one Land Bank Authority citizen seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2031.
Support.
Comments?
Yeah, I might.
Bill?
Yeah, I had reached out by some of the board members and they had Rebecca Hopp on there before and worked with her through different things. And she said really the knowledge and the outstanding work she did. So I'll be supporting Rebecca Hopp.
I seem to be voting first, so I don't know if I need to say I'll be supporting Rebecca Hopp, but I'll be supporting Rebecca Hopp in just a moment.
I've worked with Terry DeHaan on the land bank. He's a excellent Park Township citizen, former trustee, and he's done similar work to this in the past. So I'll actually be supporting Terry DeHaan.
I'd like to echo that as well. I really enjoyed working with Terry. Rebecca would do a great job too, but I will be supporting Terry.
Mr. Chair.
Allison?
I agree. Both candidates were great. And I also appreciated Cheryl's email to each of us. I probably had one difference of opinion from the email, and that was I would like to diversify the voices in the different committees and boards. I feel like the land bank as well as the brownfield one are two very important boards in our county. And I would like to diversify. Rebecca is already the chair on the brownfield one. To my recollection, she's for sure on that board. I'm going to vote for Terry to just have another voice on the land bank.
I forgot a little bit of our conversation during appointment and alignment, and Terry, awesome. I think for the opposite reasons I'm voting for Rebecca. I forgot about this until just now because she is on the Economic Development and Brownfield Committee. I've seen some value in the overlap, but I appreciate Commissioner Medema's comments as well. So, yeah. Tough decision.
Okay, Rachel, I guess it's yours.
Mr. Bruger,
Hopp.
Mr. Zylstra,
Derek Muhlenberg.
Mr. Kyers,
Rebecca Hopp.
Mr. Barry,
Rebecca Hopp.
Mr. Moss,
Terry DeHaan.
Mr. Georgezma,
DeHaan.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Terry DeHaan.
Mrs. Medema,
DeHaan.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Terry DeHaan.
Mr. Teeples.
Rebecca Hopp.
Terry DeHaan has the most votes.
A dramatic pause, John.
Okay.
All right. Suggested motion is to place in a nomination the names of, hold on to your seats, Kelly Beatty, John Gardner, Rebecca Hopp, Linda McCaffrey, Nathan Slower, Scott Blease, Ryan Havey, Dennis Joels, Molly Fahn, Joyce Cawthorn, Nathan Hookstra, Jane Longstreet, and Joseph Sirowski, and to select two to fill two Parks and Recreation Commission vacancies for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2028.
Questions, comments?
Support.
Got support? Any questions? Allison?
Yeah, it's some really great candidates that we interviewed for Park and Recreation. It always tends to be one of the ones that gets the most applicants for. And I really enjoyed during my 2 years serving alongside of Jane Longstreet and Linda McCaffrey, both great individuals. They both have brought a lot to the team. It's a tough decision to make for this board, I think, when you have two great incumbents and you had so many other great applicants. I personally am going to be voting to keep Jane Longstreet and then to vote for Joseph Sirowski. And one of the reasons why I'm voting for Joseph is he brings a voice from the eastern side of the county that I don't believe is currently represented on the county. And from my perspective, while an argument could be made for Linda because the millage is coming up this coming year, I think by keeping one on there, Jane, and then potentially having another voice that represents the eastern part of the county, and he's currently he's a seasonal parks worker. He's been very engaged in parks, great guy, and so I just thought he'd be a great fit to come onto the board at this time as well.
Yeah, Rachel.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
on.
Phil? All right.
Thank you.
Sorry, bud.
No problem. I sit on the board and I sit with Linda and Jane both. And Linda does chair finance. Both of them work extremely hard in the parks. And I think with the millage coming up to keep stability on there, I really think we should keep both of Linda and Jane Longstreet on there. And Linda works tirelessly with Friends of the Parks. She pulls invasive species all the time. So I think both of them are a really good fit for the future for the parks.
Okay, Rachel.
Just one more comment. I'd like to echo one thing that Commissioner Medema said, and it kind of goes back to a little bit of maybe what Commissioner Bruger, you were kind of seeing things in a different light on that prior one. I think there's been some discussion of the parks millage. Has there been discussion of the parks millage increasing? That's my understanding. So personally, while I know there's going to be a fair amount of support for the parks millage, I do think to have more voices across the county supporting it would be good. And I am going to also vote for Jane and for Joseph.
See what you did there, Joe.
Mhm.
Okay.
And maybe there won't be an increase. Who knows?
Okay, Mr. Bruger,
Longstreet and McCaffrey.
Mr. Zylstra,
Linda McCaffrey and Jane Longstreet.
Mr. Kyers,
Linda McCaffrey and Jane Longstreet.
Mr. Barry,
Linda McCaffrey and Jane Longstreet.
Mr. Moss,
Jane Longstreet and Joseph Sirowski.
Mr. Georgezma,
Linda McCaffrey and Rebecca Hop.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Jane Longstreet and Joseph Sirowski.
Mrs. Medema,
Jane Longstreet and Joseph Sirowski.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Jane Longstreet, Joseph Sirowski.
and Mr. Teeples.
Linda McAlfrey and Jane Longstreet.
Linda McCaffrey and Jane Longstreet have the most votes.
Okay, I move to place into nomination the names of David Chesney, Dan Klumpmaker, Donald Dykstra, Mark Northrup, Larry Jackson, and Steve Skodak, and to select two to fill two Veterans Services Committee War Veterans vacancies for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2029.
Support.
Any questions, Commissioner?
I just wanted to say, Don Dykstra I'm on that board, and he has been to every single meeting. He has helped with every single event. He and his wife also started, I think it was 3 years ago, a veterans banquet to help veterans. And they started out with 50 people. They've had to move venues twice, and now they're upwards of 500 vets that are attending this. He is fully vested in the veterans.
Yeah, I'll be supporting Steve Skodak and Mark Northrup. I think Mark brings a unique voice, but he is also dedicated his career to making sure that veterans get benefits, and that's the primary focus of our veterans department. So I think having someone who can speak to that and keep us focused on making sure that our veterans are getting benefits is going to be a huge help.
I do have one other comment.
Please.
Mark hasn't been to anything at the county. He hasn't been to the meetings. He hasn't been in the trenches with all of the board, with all of the events, with all of that. Don has helped people get benefits. Don has picked up people and driven people. That's everywhere. He has helped expand what we're doing. He's not a sideline guy. He's just fully vested in this.
Okay, Rachel.
Mr. Bruger,
Skodak and Northrop.
Mr. Zylstra,
Donald Dykstra and Larry Jackson.
Mr. Kyers,
Donald Dykstra and Mark Northrop.
Mr. Barry,
Donald Dykstra and Steve Skodak.
Mr. Moss,
Donald Dykstra and Steve Skodak.
Mr. Georgezma,
Skodak and Northrop.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Donald Dykstra and Steve Skodak.
Mrs. Miedema,
Don Dykstra and Steve Skodak.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Don Dykstra, Steve Skodak.
and Mr. Teeples.
Donald Dykstra and Mark Northrop.
Don Dykstra and Steve Skodak have the most votes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to place in a nomination the names of Randy Quartering, Sharon Kozak, and Mary Nader, and to select one to fill one West Michigan Regional Planning Commission private sector seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2026.
Support.
Questions, comments? Okay, Rachel, ready to go.
Mr. Bruger,
Quartering.
Mr. Zylstra,
Mary Nader.
Mr. Kyers,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Barry,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Moss,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Georgezma,
Quartering.
Mrs. Rhodey,
Randy Quartering.
Mrs. Miedema,
Randy Quartering.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Randy Quartering.
Mr. Teeples.
Randy Quartering.
Randy Quartering has the most votes.
I move to place in a nomination the name of Matt Messer and to select one to fill one Community Corrections Advisory Board Chief of Police seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2027, and to override the 12-term limit provisions stated in the appointments to boards and commissions policy.
Support. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Next one.
I move to place in a nomination the name of Heath White and to select one to fill one Community Corrections Advisory Board MDOC seat vacancy for one term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2027, and to override the 12-year term limit provision stated in the appointments to boards and commissions policy.
Questions,
Mr.
comments?
Chair, yeah, just a quick, I do think we should at some point discuss the 12-year. I think both of these two gentlemen kind of fall in that middle. And I don't know if we have an explicit policy. We talked about this maybe 4 or 5 years ago. If it hits you in the middle of your term, then you're good to the end. Obviously I'm voting for this. I think that's the right thing to do, but I also think it's the right thing to have that as a set policy, that if it hits you in the middle of the term, you're good to the end of your term.
We can look that up and.
Yeah, but maybe put that on planning or on, appointment alignment.
How does it hit them in the middle of the term? It goes until, unless you're changing the dates.
Oh, if you've got a 4-year term.
Yeah, but unless we're changing, this one's going to end December 31, for example. So are there other appointments that go mid-year type thing?
Right.
Well, yeah, say you appointed and your 12 years hits in the middle of a term, which has happened, a number of times, right? And I think that was with you, or was that prior to when you were deputy, Patrick? We worked with that. I know it had to do with one of our election, the canvassing board, because it was so hard to replace them and they're so valuable that they do tend to stick around for a while and we want to keep them. And we wanted to make that exception, but I think that we should look at make that a permanent part of our policy.
I think we should get rid of the 12-year rule completely, personally.
That's also an option. I don't have anything against that. I definitely think if it hits in the middle, you should be able to
Completely
finish.
agree with you.
So why don't you guys look at that in your committee and come back and advise the board?
Yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
Make one comment before we move on, all the appointments in the line.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep. Regina, and I gotta say thank you today, to all the work you did, all the phone calls you did, all the appointments. It really worked good for us. And even though Ron Ferentz ain't sitting in that chair, I'd like to say thank you to Ron too. So.
Yeah,
It
likewise.
was a lot of work and we interviewed a lot of good people. I think it was one of the best interviews I ever did, being on Appointment Alliance, even though, what was the name of it before?
Talent
Talent Recruitment. So, yeah, it was good. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know how, we did not seem to have that many people who didn't make the appointments. I'm not sure how much work you had to do to kind of get those people online with us.
They were more
Um,
receptive. That's awesome.
Okay, so regardless, I think you did a great job and thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys making those comments. I thought the talent pool of candidates was unbelievable. The fact that so many people want to sit and help the county and serve in so many ways is remarkable. It was really a pleasure to look at these, and I appreciate everybody that applied. It really says a lot. So thank you so much, everyone. Okay, next thing on the agenda are committee reports. Do we have any to report? None? Okay, this is a second public comment period. Would anyone like to address the board?
Nancy Emmerich from Grand Haven, the city. Any words spoken during any of these meetings or written by county newspapers that confronted Mr. Moss's arrogance and malignant leadership are nothing in comparison to the degradation and indeed the attempted assassination of Adeline Hambley. Her professionalism and her character by Mr. Moss in particular and his minions. I will never forget when Mr. Moss made Adeline Hambley raise her hand to vow to tell the truth when she was there to talk. I'll never forget it. And many of you who were here probably haven't forgotten that either. Mr. Bruger's good intentions and poor word choice do not compare to Mr. Moss's numerous lies. Where is the regret? Where is the admission of wrongdoing? Yes, this commission must move on, but this commissioner, I wanted to say this little naughty little boy, this commissioner must admit his lies. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board?
Karen Obitz, Spring Lake, about the ethics complaints today. First of all, thank you for posing the question to corporate counsel so the public could hear the explanation given. But relative to the discussion we heard about those two motions on the agenda regarding each individual ethics complaint, I had expected to hear more discussion rationale offered for whether or not there was warrant to open an investigation. What I heard a lot of was like litigating the value of the complaint, which I want to remind you was brought by citizens of the county. What I heard a lot of was like, we're over it, we're good, we can move on with respect to the Moss complaint. But remember, it was not any of you or the board as a whole that brought that complaint. It was two members of the public. And I did not hear any assessment of whether there was any warrant for an investigation into the complaint brought by people of the public. I heard a whole lot more about it was time for the board to move on. I just wanted to point that out as my observations as I listened. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Did you get to Pete speak again?
Yeah, you sure do.
Great. Not just a Thanksgiving meeting, it's every meeting, so.
Well, I don't come here. I've never even wanted to
Excuse
come.
me, could you state your name again? for the
Steve
record?
Willard, Holland Charter Township. Yeah. And the only reason I'm here is because of trust and accountability. And that's what I heard all night long was trust and accountability. And if you want to address something that makes an impact in people's lives, let's not ignore the fact that these modified exhausts on vehicles, and he laughs, but it's not a simple, it's not something where I'm just like, I'm trying to raise the standard of living in the county. And if you look at it, these individuals, it's not even on their, show car, their pony car, their vehicle that they, their show car. It's their everyday driver. So they're driving around just being obnoxious. Nobody likes it. I've talked to so many people. This is ridiculous that as a county, we're just allowing modified exhaust. Like to me, it's silly. It's a Michigan law. And if you want reference to the law, it's MCL 257.707C. And it specifically states that you can't have a modified exhaust on your car. You just can't. It's against the law. But maybe because people aren't willing to come here and talk about it, maybe because, it's an issue that people think, oh yeah, it's just a car. It's just a loud car. That doesn't matter, but it does. It does. There's scientific proof that'll show you that the normal response in your body to these loud noises is a rise in cortisol, which is stress, which brings down the quality of life. If we want to talk about trust and accountability, hold them to account. It's not that hard of a thing to expect our residents when they get pulled over, and it's not something unreasonable to expect that our sheriff department prioritizes targeting these vehicles. I mean, they don't have to hit the gas to know that they have a modified exhaust. You can look at it and see. And I got a flyer that I've been trying to hand out as much as I can, so I'll just read it, and that's how I'll close. Pipe down. Loud exhausts aren't cool. They're illegal. Michigan law MCL 257.707C, modified or excessively loud exhaust systems are prohibited by law. Violators can be fined up to $100. And that's another thing, is $100 people will pay a premium to be obnoxious. If you hear one, report it. Ottawa County Sheriff Non-Emergency, 1-800-249-0911. And if you're afraid to call because you think it's a minor issue, dial *67 beforehand, block your number, and just report yourself as anonymous. It's a real thing. It's a real problem.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Barbara Lee, I did just legally change my name.
I thought, yeah.
Sorry for the confusion. City of Grand Haven and the Momentum Center. I want to thank you for the appointment to the DHHS board and clarify a misunderstanding. It's easy to make, but the Momentum Center is a function of community mental health and not health and human services. So there is no conflict there. What there is an opportunity for me to get bulletins. So for instance, when SNAP benefits were paused, I learned about that immediately. And as a result, we now are doing Free Food Fridays. So it gives me an opportunity to know what the issues are and think creatively about how they might be addressed. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Chantal Martineau, Park Township. I would just like to thank our new commenter for raising the issues of trust and accountability and giving us a little theme to work with. Because I echo most strongly Karen's comments, but also the first commenter here about I'd like to return to the ethics complaints. What I noted hearing from the commissioners when in discussing these ethics complaints, that there was a lot of discussion of using, or somebody probably used the word wasting, taxpayer money. And that is not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is ethics. And what you all decided is that it's not really worth using taxpayer money to investigate ethics complaints that the taxpayers brought before you. And also, you didn't actually note what those complaints were when you started discussing the complaints. You didn't really discuss the complaints at all, since you didn't list what the complaints were. I believe Chair Teeples said that they don't meet the threshold of ethics policy, but you didn't mention what that ethics policy was. Perhaps I have enough time here to read from the ethics policy of Ottawa County. Number 1, A, be dedicated to the concepts of effective and democratic government. B, maintain a deep sense of responsibility as a trusted public servant. C, be dedicated to the highest ideals of honor and integrity in all public relationships. D, discharge their responsibilities without favor and refrain from engaging in any outside matters of financial or personal influence incompatible with the impartial and objective performance of their duties. E, encourage a collegial and productive atmosphere on the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners by endeavoring, through conduct and speech, to treat each other, elected officials, county employees, and members of the general public with courtesy and respect. It seems like the only one of those provisions that you paid the slightest bit of attention to tonight was D, and that you did not discuss the professional behavior that and the accountability to the public that we would all like to see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan Zimmer, Port Sheldon Township. The Ottawa County Code of Ethics on the bottom, it says revised November 22, 2005. Review period. The internal policy review team will review this policy at least once every 2 years and will make recommendations for changes to the Planning and Policy Committee. I note here, it says last reviewed by internal review team, September 1, 2022. And I guess my point is the internal policy review team will review this policy at least once every 2 years and will make recommendations for changes to the Planning and Policy Committee. Based on the September 1, 2022 last review, it has been 3 years, 85 days and counting. So maybe it's time to review the code of ethics policy.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online, Regina? Okay, let's move on. Garrett, or Gary, Patrick.
Oh.
Sorry, buddy.
Really?
I know, wow. That's what you get for having a meeting at nighttime.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, it's all yours.
Yeah, I did give an update last week, so I won't reiterate. I do want to really push again the plug for the strategic plan. Trying to find a date has been really challenging for us, so please look at your calendars. Please try to make that a priority. We're now in the first 2 weeks in March. Thank you. So we're ways out. There hopefully should be some time to find. We're looking for a day and a half of time consecutive.
If I committed to doing the Friday afternoon, would that make a difference? Was I the one? Because I can do a Friday afternoon.
Well, I just wondered, are the February dates still available if we were to have another discussion to see if perhaps they were available for the board to attend? Can we still put those in there with our doodle poll?
Yeah. Look, because I know the consultant emailed me just today. Did he still have a February date on there that worked? Let me look and see if I can find that. So give me a second.
Sorry, we jumped on you right there, but also we agree that it's important. Trying to find a date.
Thursday and Friday, February 19th and 20th are still available for him.
19 and 20?
Yes.
Okay, just a heads up. Many of us leave for the NACO conference on the 20th. So I would just keep that. So that would be a reason probably that many people didn't check that box.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, then the next dates available are the 9th and 10th of March and the 12th and 13th of March, which are a Monday, Tuesday. But I think he's probably more flexible. Those are his preferred dates, so it really comes down to what you guys can decide.
The challenge, I think, not to interrupt you a second, Patrick, on this, but sounds like some of the challenge is that some of the commissioners aren't available that a whole day, but that's what it's gonna take. You know, so we're already pushing into March. I don't, none of us wanted to do that, but hopefully that we can free ourselves up to be available on a whole day so we can get through this.
Couldn't we try to get a situation where almost everyone is available for as much of the day as possible? And if there's one person who has to leave early or come early or whatever,
Maybe at that point.
Yeah,
we can,
so what do you think of this? If, when Regina sends out the, whatever you call it, to
Doodle
check
poll.
our account, Google, or what is it?
Doodle poll.
Doodle. And we have 10 out of 11 of us are available. Book it? Should we
yeah,
book it?
I think so.
Okay,
think
is
so.
that, there's some direction there? Hopefully
Okay.
that'll work. Yeah? Okay, let's do it.
Right.
So let me,
We got elected for, so anything but NACO, otherwise I'm good to go, okay?
Yeah, understand that.
okay.
The other thing is, we've put a email out, Regina sent an email out about moving the December board meeting, to accommodate the Christmas week. So we were originally looking at the 18th. I think that's the Thursday. That didn't work for one board member, but if we can get a majority on the 16th, which would be the Tuesday before before our regular scheduled meeting. And I got a few yeses on that today, so I think we're
So
way there.
let's see if we can get unanimous on the 16th.
Okay.
But if not, whatever date we have the most people,
Okay,
one of those two dates.
but the preference is not 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah, that's probably not the preference. Okay. Kendra, you wanna?
Patrick, I messaged I can,
Yep.
except for that I will have to leave early because
Yeah.
I have an already scheduled appointment.
I got that message, so, yep.
All right, well, sounds like we can get something going here.
And I will say on that, as we talk through next year and planning for next year, when we plan the meeting schedules, we'll take these types of things into account, so we're not conflicting with the holiday schedule. Only thing else I'd like to just update you on is the opening time frame for the deputy county administrator has closed. We received a good number, I don't have the number off the top of my head, a good number of applicants. We've shortlisted 6, and we're shooting for tentative date of December 12th to conduct those interviews. So hopefully we'll have him or her seated soon before the end of December.
Patrick, where do we stand on corporate counsel?
That's next. I think I wanted to get through this. It's, I'm working on the job description right now, so that will probably be closely after that process.
You haven't started?
We're underway on that.
This guy wants out too.
Start what, Ron?
Do you know how old I am?
Good, Ron.
That's all.
So, all right, so commissioner comments, you want to start it, Bill?
I can. So last week, Friday, we had our MAC board meeting, and Curry, the executive director, Steve Curry, he brought us up to date, and we can share this with the public and the commissioners now. So we did a bit on the MDHS. We got a 501c called Behavior Health Network. We did this with the Raymond Group. They're a pretty well organized group that deals with this kind of stuff, but MAC would be the leader on this. And if you look at the benefits are huge because we represent all the counties more than anybody does right now. We think we can make this more equal to everybody as far as getting their services. So the bid has gone out. The bid is confidential yet. But it'll be coming out what happens, and hopefully we will be part of this, and hopefully you can support that. So any questions, I'm more than free to go down. You can contact me. So he feels real confident about it. I know it's a big number. It's a big number. I mean, that's a big bid that's out there. But Curry is really amazing executive, and he does a great job. So I'm confident that he will be able to do this. So thank you.
Doug?
Yeah, thank you, John. We said thank you for all your work on these appointments. I just wanted to say thanks to Josh and to all my colleagues. There were a lot of interviews, and I appreciate everybody's participation and getting us to, I think, a list of great, new appointments and renewed appointments. So, and happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving. It's about all I've got at this
That's
point.
all we need.
Kendra?
I just wanted to do a quick info thing about something new that's happening in Veteran Services. Caleb Werpel has been working on this initiative this year, and it's called a Legacy Link, and I just want to read. It's an ongoing outreach initiative designed to support senior veterans and their spouses directly within their living communities. This program brings clear, accessible benefits, information, personal connection, and one-on-one support to assisted living, independent living, and long-term care facilities across Ottawa. Legacy Link meets veterans where they are by removing barriers, reducing isolation, and ensuring older veterans understand the resources available to them. Our mission is to provide senior veterans with personal, reliable access to support, information, and community through on-site outreach that prioritizes connection, clarity, and dignity. The program goals are increasing awareness, improve access, strengthen connection, provide personalized support, and build sustainable community partnerships. So they're going to have, I think the first one is, I'm sorry about that. It's coming up shortly. It doesn't show on here. I can let you guys know when the first one is. It's like a dry run, just as a trial, so.
Is it a new program through veterans is what that is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Good.
Oh, here it is, Friday, December 5th at Waterford Place in Jenison. That's their first pilot visit will be there.
Anything else?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I just want to share a few thoughts. So if you indulge me for a little bit. In his farewell address to the nation, President Reagan admonished us, don't be afraid to see what you see. Reagan was the great communicator, but also a man of deep discernment and strategy. The difference between the challenges of the Reagan era and those we face today is the packaging and proximity of communism. Reagan fought the war against communism's tyranny in broad daylight on another country's soil. Today, many on the right describe themselves as Reagan Republicans, espousing a gentler, finance-focused agenda, while unable to recognize the Marxist march towards communism knocking on America's door. While they flirt with social justice, they fail to acknowledge its risks and don't begin to muster the courage to defend against it, and certainly not to defeat it. They have unwittingly abandoned Reagan's first love, the protection of the American people, and his passion to defeat a movement that has killed millions. As the world changes and those who desire to destroy America plot her demise, we must expect no less from our nation's leaders and our local leaders than the discernment to know the times and the courage to protect America from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Recent years have brought painful yet soft consequences for courage. Few have been asked to give their lives for our nation like Charlie Kirk, yet. America needs leaders with spines of steel who will stand against the Marxist, wrapped up in DEI language, who desire to destroy our beautiful republic by erasing truth, eroding the family, and promoting or allowing the systemic dismantling of America's foundations. Joe Moss has been a leader grounded in truth and a desire to protect the people of Ottawa County against the aggressive march of progressivism and Marxism in Ottawa County during the Biden era, no less, when there were few leaders in Michigan willing or in a position to be able to stand against it. In 2023, Ottawa County was the first local government in the United States to abolish DEI. And for that, there was hell to pay. The Washington Post and the fake news descended on our county to destroy Joe Moss and anyone associated with Ottawa Impact. And sadly, many here joined that effort. Despite President Trump taking similar actions when he took office, this board still failed to recognize what time it is and join the left's efforts. We need true Ronald Reagan's who stand in the gap to protect freedom. Now is not a time for cowardice. Recent weeks have revealed, I'm not sure if any of you guys have watched this, but have revealed just how deep the DEI efforts have gone, initiated by wealthy individuals who intentionally wanted to dismantle and rebuild an America that was more favorable to their personal interests. It's really no wonder that so many people have been confused by all of it over the past few years. That was on purpose. So this Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for our beautiful community and for all who understand the importance of defending truth and freedom. And I'm thankful for Joe Moss and that he has been willing to stand for all of us. I'm hopeful at some point this board will gain discernment on the past and on the bigger picture. But for right now, I'm hopeful that we can all begin to move forward together. That's all I got.
Josh?
Sorry, I thought you were rolling to Joe. Okay. Steve, I agree with you on loud mufflers. I was laughing in agreement. Drive me nuts. So there you go. Also agree with Dan, Mr. Zimmer, who said we need to review our ethics policy. Absolutely. And then on 2 points. One is housing. Doug, Commissioner Zylstra and I have been in contact with Mr. Commissioner Kyers, about discussing an expansion of the Housing Commission, something we brought up earlier this year. And we'll be bringing that before the Planning and Policy Committee to discuss it a little bit further and look for some direction from you guys on what we would like to do, if anything, in expanding the Housing Committee so that we can better meet needs, housing needs in Ottawa County. So just anticipate that on the horizon. And then thank you to my fellow commissioners for voting down the ethics investigation. I appreciate very much that, as one of our spokespeople said, or public comments here, that I could certainly choose to wiser words, and I will do my best to do that. Regarding Joe's not going forward with his, I was sharing a conversation with an individual as an attorney in West Michigan, and he said, you know, maybe it is time to move on. That reminds me of Gerald Ford pardoning Nixon. And I don't know that this rises to that level, but in his eyes and in some people's minds, perhaps that is it. So it may very well be that those of us up here have only 3 years left and we will not be a second term commissioners. That's all my comments.
Allison?
Commissioner Kyers, I thank you for the update from MAC. That was great. Commissioner Wenzel, I appreciated yours as well. And Commissioner Rhodey, I really appreciated what you had to say tonight. I just want to first say thank you to the many residents of Ottawa County that applied to serve, as we already mentioned, to serve on boards and commissions. And then I do have a little bit that I would like to share this evening as well. So I was listening to part of a podcast this morning by Heidi St. John and recognized some relevance of what she said to some of our own situations. One of the things that she mentioned was that government, and I could substitute a word, the uniparty, desires a narrative, and the machine is rewarded. Social media rewards outrage, and it rewards shock, but it does not reward the truth, and that is the truth. And when we don't have truth, the full truth, we end up believing lies. We may end up comparing ourselves in a plethora of worldly measures. There's so much venom, hate, and outright lies, especially in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death. COVID should have taught all of us not to believe lies being fed to us. We can't simply believe headlines. People often want to hear what they want to hear rather than taking the time to discern if it's true. Discernment based on biblical truth isn't a feeling or a hunch or an intention, but the Holy Spirit's ability to distinguish truth from error and wisdom from foolishness. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 tells us to test all things and to hold fast to what is good. Well, there's hundreds of articles and headlines I could read from tonight. Due to time limits, I will just share a few that were used to stir up a community in the past couple of years to create outrage and to reward shock, but did not reward the truth. 60% pay raise is likely for Ottawa County Commissioners. Ottawa County Commissioners set to give themselves 60% raise. Ottawa County Board of Commissioners votes to give themselves a hefty raise. Health Officer proposed 88% budget cut would likely close Health Department. Ottawa County slams claims that $2.5 million budget would shutter Health Department. The past several weeks, there's been a new round of social media rewarding outrage and shock. I'll just touch on one of those tonight. It's surrounding the controversy of $4 million to our Health Director, Adeline Hambley. Since becoming a commissioner and a public servant, I took the Michigan compiled law regarding closed sessions quite seriously, keeping them confidential in nature when we entered them. Legal reasons as well as financial stability of a county are two reasons to consider when voting to enter closed session. When one or more people violate the law, anything goes. Facts and fiction become intermixed, and people become unnecessarily pitted against one another. I have observed some possible reasons that some here in Ottawa have chosen to violate the closed session law. 1, there are not strict penalties. 2, no accountability has been given. 3, personal limelight and can use for their own gains with media and people. They get to set a present and ultimately a future narrative because they're betting that the other commissioners will follow and abide by the closed sessions. How many commissioners were recently contacted by the press once closed meeting minutes were voted on for release regarding the Adeline Hambley case? I can personally state that not one contacted me. Again, the uniparty desires a narrative and the machine is rewarded. Social media rewards outrage, it rewards shock, but it does not reward the truth. To end, I will just share a few verses from 1 Thessalonians 5. And this is for myself included. Now we ask you, brothers and sisters, to acknowledge those who work hard among you, who care for you in the Lord, and who admonish you. Hold them in the highest regard and love because of their work. Live in peace with each other. And we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive. Encourage the disheartened, help the weak, be patient with everyone. Make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and everyone else. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Do not quench the spirit, do not treat prophecies with contempt, but test them all, hold on to what is good, reject every kind of evil. Thanks for listening.
Jordan?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's talked about this yet, but what was it, 2 weeks ago tonight, there was a county staff appreciation dinner that I attended. I was sitting at the same table as Commissioner Rohde, and it was an awesome event. First of all, I'll just say to all the staff who went, thank you for being there. Thank you for everything that you do. But what struck me was how many people were being honored for having worked for the county for a decade plus. I mean, dozens. So I think that's a testament to the kind of culture we have here in Ottawa County, you know, in the county government, and a testament to our leadership too. So thank you, staff, and, you know, everyone around town. When you see a county employee, say thank you. That's it.
Bill?
Well, I'll start by tagging onto that and say I enjoyed that banquet too. And I was sitting at a table with someone who I think had 35 years with the county. So that was pretty cool and good conversation. And I said I would read my statement earlier, so I'm going to do that. This was the statement that I sent to MLive. I did have one reporter reach out when they started writing articles. They only printed a small portion of this short statement. So I had sent to the reporter, I said, the Board of Commissioners engaged in a negotiation process to separate with the health officer. The consensus of the November 6, 2023 meeting was to continue the negotiation process a week later on November 14. The meeting minutes reflect a moment in time during that process. At that time, there were never 6 or more votes to accept any of the terms discussed that day. The health officer decided to break off negotiations, and the court accurately ruled that she was not owed money At all times, the first priority of the board majority at that time was to protect the kids of Ottawa County, which is what the people elected us to do. And I'll just leave it at that.
So I'll close it. It is a time for us to be thankful. Despite all the pressures and all the demands and all the suffering that goes on, the rest of us can hopefully look at the good and see and to be thankful. And so with that, I'd like to thank you guys all, the board and the community as well. And